All right, guys, what is up, everybody? Welcome back once again to Hot Toys Hotline Live, our special Tuesday episode. Guys, we had a fun topic for tonight. We're going to be talking about the Hot Toys DX line. This has come up many times, and Ryan and myself have brought it up many times, and some of the other panel members, and even in the chat as well, we've talked about how we think the DX line is kind of slowly fading away. And we'd like to talk about kind of the history of the DX line, some great releases that we've had in the past, and then look at some of the newer stuff. Chris, the Collecting Madness, as well as Sean, the Hot Toys Nightmare, will be joining us very shortly. But Ryan and I are starting off the stream promptly at 7:30 on time, as we always like to be. So as always, Ryan, thank you so much for being here, dude. It is a great topic, one that you and I have wanted to talk about for a while. And guys, that's how we use our Tuesday streams, right? This is always like an opinionated topic, discussion type stream. Of course, everybody in the chat, love to hear your thoughts as well as we're discussing this. But Ryan, thank you so much for being here, dude. And I'm excited to get into this DX line because as I was preparing for the stream, it made me a little sad, because we're looking at the past and then looking at the current day and the future of the DX line. I'm like, what happened, man?
Yeah, garbage DX figures now. Yeah, we got some. Don't worry, I have my examples next to me right here of what should have been. What is a good DX and what's a garbage DX. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, we're starting it off strong, guys. But yes, we're going to talk about it, guys. Again, there's a lot of differences between the previous DX releases and today's DX releases. But of course, before we get started, I'm going to say what's up to everybody in the chat. I hope you guys are all doing well. Of course, as always, one of our great moderators, Insane One, is here. Insane One says soon. Well, soon indeed. That time is now. Great to have you here as always, my friend. And then some guy is here in the chat. Another one of our great moderators. Some guy says, you know what time it is. It's Tuesday night with Hot Toys Hotline. Let's get your popcorn. Let's get your drink. Sit back and enjoy the show. Everyone in the chat, if you haven't already, like and sub to the #1 channel on YouTube. Thank you so much, as always, some guy, for getting the chat hyped up, and very much appreciate the kind words. Awesome to have you here, as always. Not a Hot Toys Hotline stream without you. Mike is here. Mike, great to see you here. I was just talking to Mike, actually, today and yesterday on Instagram, so great to have you here, Mike. Awesome to have you here, as always. Mike was saying some very kind things to me, so I appreciate that, Mike. But it's awesome to see you here on this fine Tuesday evening. Another one of our great moderators, Payden23, says, good evening, everyone. Good evening to you, bro. I hope you're doing well. Great to have you here, as always. Kumar, it was so great to see Kumar was able to make it in. As I always say, Kumar is one of my first subscribers and watchers on YouTube. So, Kumar, it's always a pleasure to see you in here, dude. He says, hi, guys. Hope everyone is well and good. I am well and good myself. I hope you're well and good, and I hope you're doing well overall. Let's see. Who else do we have here? Sorry, guys, I'm just scrolling through. Big Dog Pound, once again, Chris is not on time to say what's up to you with his belt slung over his shoulder, so I got to do it for you. Guys, can we get a big woo in the chat for Big Dog Pound? Woo. What's up, Big Dog Pound? Yeah, Ryan's he's just my backup singer right now, so you can't get the same amount of energy from Ryan. But what's up, Big Dog Pound? I hope you're doing well. CSI Grism is here. CSI says, what's up, all? Can't wait for the discussion. Can't wait to talk about it with y'all. What's up, CSI? I hope you're doing well, dude. It is always awesome to have you here. Great to have you here on this fine Tuesday evening. My friend HG is here. HG says, what's up, gentlemen? What's up, HG? I hope you're doing well, bro. Great to see you here. Great to have you here, as always. Boba Fettuccine in the house. What's up, bro? One of our giveaway winners from last week. I was just talking to Boba. We're trying to sort out his gift card. I think he's the last one I have to deliver the gift card to. So we're sorting it out. And we'll get it figured out, Boba. We're just working through it. But what's up, Boba? It's great to have you here, bro, as always. I hope you're doing well, man. Got Joe P in the house. What's up, Joe? Good to have you here, bro. Let's see. What's up, JB? JB says Ecto 1 on the verge of release. That's what we're hearing. Guys, if you're not familiar, he's talking about the Blitzway Ecto 1 Afterlife vehicle. Apparently next week. So we'll see if that ends up being true. But the rumors are next week that's going to be releasing. So happy for all of you guys who ended up purchasing that. That's not something I'm picking up. But congrats to everybody who's picking up. Hopefully that happens next week. We have Lane Kramer in the chat, one of our great panel members, especially on our Thursday streams. You guys see the legendary Lane Kramer here. What's up, Lane? I hope you're doing well. Great to have you here, as always. Let's see. Who else do we have? David, my friend. David says some folks in the chat are insane. Yeah, I think there is the insane one in the chat. The most insane out of all of them. But what's up, David? Great to see you here as always, dude. Tom Daly is in the chat. Tom Daly says, hey guys, excited for this topic, but I know it's going to piss me off. Dude, some people might get pissed. Some people might get upset. I was a little upset when I was preparing for the stream, so totally understandable. It's okay, guys. As long as it's not directed at each other, you can get upset. You can get pissed. It's the topic, man. You know, it makes you sad. OG fan, another one of our great moderators is here. What's up, OG? Great to have you here as always, bro. I hope you're doing well. We got OG Mando in the chat, says, let's get the party started. What's up, OG Mando? Yes, sir. A fine Tuesday evening indeed to get the party started. Facebook user says, let's go. What's up, Facebook user? As I always say, guys, and we have a fire emoji from Facebook user as well. If you would like to show your name, there are instructions in the post on Facebook if you would like to do so. Of course, you do not have to, as always. Apip Flea is here. What's up, Apip Flea? He's joking on me because really not long before I was about to start the stream, my power went out, and I was like, crap. I messaged the Hot Toys Hotline Facebook chat, and I was like, hey, guys, my power went out, and I was kind of updating people as it happened. Thankfully, it came back on very, very promptly, so I was happy about that. But yes, I did discover electricity. And shout out to 8-Bit Flea. He recently helped me out with a part that I needed for my Ahsoka figure. Actually, one of the figures we're talking about tonight, because mine had a little defect, and he's like, you know what, I got you, dude. So shout out to 8-Bit. He's such a nice guy. I appreciate you, bro. We got Stevie Weeby in the chat. What's up, Stevie? I hope you're doing well, man. Good to see you here as always. And yes, smash that like button. I very much appreciate that, big dog pound. Blue Tattoo in the house. What's up, Blue Tattoo? I hope you're doing well. Great to see you here, dude. Always awesome to have you here. I think that's everybody, as always, guys. And then Sean is joining us. The Hot Toys Nightmare just made it in. Perfect timing, Sean. We haven't even started the topic yet.
What's the topic?
Sean, you know what the topic is, Sean. You know exactly. You know exactly. And I see Rusty Bronco in the chat. What's up, Rusty Bronco?
That is the greatest name in the world.
It is, Rusty Bronco. I'm really interested in those newer Broncos. I really like those. I would like that as a second vehicle. That'd be cool. Get that man a tetanus shot. Who's getting a tetanus shot? Rusty Bronco. That's who's getting it. Duh. Sorry, that went right over my head. But yeah, Sean, we're about to get started. I was just saying what's up to everybody in the chat. So thank you so much, as always, for being here, Sean.
You're welcome.
Yeah, we're about to get going, and we're about to get started. And we have CMB in the house. CMB says, what's up, party people? CMB, if you would like to jump in on this discussion, feel free. We're just going to be kind of shooting the shit, talking about some DX figures, talking about what we got in the past and what's happening in the future. I know you get busy sometimes, so I don't want to bother you because you're always streaming everywhere. But if you want to hop in on the discussion, I'd love to have you, dude, because we're going to be talking about some DX figures tonight. But guys, we're gonna first we're gonna talk about the past. We're gonna talk about the history of the DX line because a lot of you may not know much about it, especially if you're a newer collector. This might help you guys out a lot. Let me pull up my first tab here, and that's kind of and Ryan, we've looked at this website quite a few times. This is hottoysph.com, guys. This is a great source for information on basically all of the releases that Hot Toys has ever done. It's hottoysph.com. I highly recommend checking it out because you can see here I have the entirety of the DX line pulled up, and they have it all listed in order. How fantastic is that? Yeah, so I wanted to start by kind of showing you guys where they started. And for those of you who don't know, DX stands for Deluxe Series. I know everybody always has that question, especially people that have never purchased any figures from this line. It stands for Deluxe Series. DX. Who would have thought? Deluxe Series. But, yeah, see, 8-Bit Fleas, they're already starting with the jokes. DX is reduced to a cool box now. That's what a lot of people are saying, man. That's what a lot of people are saying. Maybe even myself. You never know. But yes, guys, the very first figure, how fitting. The DX01 was the Dark Knight Joker. The very first figure, and now, as you guys know, like InArt just recently put out their Joker, but that's where it all started with Hot Toys for their DX line, was the DX01 Dark Knight Joker. And then as we scroll down here to some of our other earlier releases, DX02, a companion piece for the DX01. And you guys know we've seen many versions of the Dark Knight Batman, even recently another one coming out of the woodwork with that armory set. So definitely really cool to see kind of where Hot Toys has come from in terms of these Dark Knight releases. And I'm sure you guys can tell, and Ryan, the thing that first came to my head when I started looking at these DX releases is like the variety that Hot Toys used to put out for figures we don't really quite see that anymore, right? Because they go so hard on Star Wars, they go so hard on Marvel. Even DC's getting some love lately. It's like, Ryan, what are your thoughts when you're looking at these early DX releases? You're seeing like Michael Jackson, Indiana Jones, Bruce Lee.
I mean, it's hard to say. Obviously, it's early on. What year was these roughly? 2000? Was that? I can't see 10.
Look, so
2010 to 12.
2009,
I mean,
2010, like very early on, dude.
I mean, to be fair, I'm just giving you my opinion, obviously, but it's almost like when you look at those dates, you think about what was out movie wise, and they were focusing more on like the 80s stuff that was popular. I mean, Marvel, when did Iron Man come out? 2008. So that was kind of going into the Iron Man 1 into Iron Man 2. Iron Man 2, I think, was 2010, 11, or because Avengers was 2012. So right. Marvel was just starting to get their mojo going, really, in terms of the MCU, and then things kind of never were the same again after that. So I kind of feel like they obviously, you know, there's contracts involved to make figures with them. And I think once they got down that rabbit hole of Marvel, I mean, that just opened up the floodgates to really that whole, you know, what we see now. And they kind of, not say lost their way, but yeah, you see what I love about Hot Toys then looking at these. And sometimes I stumble upon this website and look back at stuff and kind of look at the old stuff. It's just the variety. Like you said, like look at those 4 pictures. You got Indiana Jones, you got Jack Sparrow, you got Luke, and then you got the Joker. Like, what a variety covering so much stuff. You know, there's a little bit for everybody, and it's so cool. But like I said, it's the nature of the beast. I mean, you start expanding, you start getting more IPs, you start getting more characters, and it's just it's kind of like a mom and pop shop that grows into like a Home Depot. It's kind of like when the wheels start going, it's kind of hard to stop that bus. And I think that's what happens as we're looking at these dates. You know, now you're going into 2011. Now like I said, you got the Batman, Terminator. This is all such a great variety of stuff. But like I said, especially when Avengers hit, I mean, they went full force on all that stuff. You know, even if you jump over to the MMS right now and look at the figures around that timeline, I mean, I'm not surprised by it. It's not disappointing because they obviously are revisiting a lot of these figures, but it's cool to see the variety. And I've always been one to say, like, I wish they would do more 80s IPs and things like that, and or call it like a one-off IP, like a RoboCop or like something like that that's out of the norm. That's not a big, just different flavor of stuff. That's why when we got like the Back to the Future figures, we got the RoboCop 3. We're like, holy crap, these are awesome. They're like little glimpses of stuff,
right, of what really we used to see from Hot Toys, right? And
exactly. So it's like, it's cool, but I'm not like upset about it in the sense, because it's like I said, it's the nature of the beast. Like, obviously, when the figure, around this timeline, you're getting out to these big Marvel starting to boom, and then DC's doing its thing and whatever. So it's like, and Star Wars too. I'm not disappointed by it. I mean, it's cool. I have like great figures from it, but the variety is definitely fantastic. It's some of the best stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
The funny thing too is, when you look at this webpage, and by the way, guys, I did drop a link if you guys want to follow along or maybe look through or bookmark this website. It's very, very useful. Ryan and I have definitely found really, really good stuff on this website. So definitely bookmark this. It's a great source of information, especially if you're looking into purchasing some older figures, which kind of goes along with what I was gonna add. It's funny, Ryan, when we're looking at this DX list here, how ironic is it that a lot of these figures are kind of grail figures right now for a lot of people, and they often fetch pretty substantial price tags, a lot of these. Not all of them, of course. Not all of the DXs have been a huge hit, and of course some of them have been kind of re-released. We saw the Dark Knight Batman be re-released multiple times, same with the Joker, but yeah, I mean, it's no surprise that when you look at these DX figures, you kind of recall the prices that some of these are going for, because they were such good releases at the time that even though we have like this DX13 battle damaged Terminator here come out in 2012, people are still spending an arm and a leg on that figure. Because like you said, I mean, and I think that's a great point that you made about 2012, because obviously that's when the Avengers film came out. And we know how many figures Hot Toys pumped out for that line alone at the time. So I think that was probably the start of a turning point for them. And they're kind of realizing, hey, like we're really getting a lot of orders for these figures. If we get a good relationship with Disney, we're going to keep pumping out figures for these movies. Obviously, it was really movie focused at the time. Disney Plus obviously was long off from there. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting to see how this line has been affected by Hot Toys' main priorities over time, right? Because obviously this line was created to do something a bit more special with some of these releases, and that was the whole purpose behind the deluxe series line that we're talking about, is they're doing something special, maybe multiple head sculpts, extra swap out outfits, a ton of accessories, these special boxes, as someone brought up in the chat. So before we, guys, I'm going to read some of your comments, but Sean, I'm curious to hear your thoughts too, because I'm sure at some point you've had multiples of these different figures in this lineup in your collection. What are your thoughts when we look back at some of these older releases from the DX line? What are your thoughts, man? Is it crazy to you, the variety, the amount of different figures that we got from Hot Toys in the past, comparing to what we look at now? Whereas, like Ryan said, like RoboCop 3, we got an announcement from that, and we got the Back to the Future 3, Marty McFly and everything, and we were just kind of like gobsmacked because we couldn't believe that Hot Toys was still thinking about us 80s and 90s fans, you know? So what are your thoughts, man, when we look back on all these DX releases?
So if I look at how it used to be, my first DX was both Batman and Joker. So the DX 01 and 02. That was my first DX. Then my next one was the Luke 2-pack with the weather vane. I had the exclusive version, so it came with the Darth Vader helmet, or Luke helmeted, whatever you want to call it. And now it's trickled down to, I understand the Ahsoka, the DX21, but not the DX20. The DX, the base with the water effect looked really cool, and that should have just came with the DX21. I don't like the whole 2 different sets for DXs.
That's stupid.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, like with
too.
Darth Maul, for example, since you have him up here, that should have only been 1.
Yeah.
I miss like how it was. If I remember correctly, there was another Joker DX where it came with the policeman's uniform also. If I'm remembering correctly, it came with the regular Joker, and then he came with a police uniform. Or
yeah, I don't believe that was a DX release, but I know you're talking about are you talking about the bank robber Joker and was that a 2-pack, the bank robber Joker? I can't remember.
No, I think bank robber Joker was only 1.
A single.
Maybe I'm wrong. I'm probably wrong on that. So I was just thinking for some reason I remember saying I never owned it.
You made so many Jokers, and it was to keep track of.
Yeah,
but
there have been a lot of Jokers. There have been a lot.
He has a point. And the next ones were the 89 Joker and Batman that I had. But I liked how the DX line was. I don't like how it's gone. Because anything with the Purge system had DX on it. And now we have regular figures with the Purge system, which is fine. Just phase out the DX line.
Yeah.
Is all we really need to do. And that's okay.
Connor, make a poll.
They're going to do it.
Make a poll. DX line should stay or should it go?
Yeah, let's
Just
do
like
a
the
poll.
Clash.
Sean, hold that thought on phasing out the DX line, because so what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a look at some videos of some previously released older DX figures. Then we're gonna take a look at some of the new ones, and at the end we're gonna kind of culminate our thoughts. Hopefully those in the chat who have never looked into this will kind of see where we're coming from, and then we're gonna kind of close out our thoughts that way. So hold that thought on phasing out the DX line, because I'm gonna ask you all a question towards the end, and that'll kind of close up and wrap out our discussion on these figures.
Like what kind of wrap?
Like chicken Caesar,
like M&M or
chicken.
No, we gotta be a little healthy. Chicken Caesar.
Chicken Caesar. Yeah, we'll do chicken Caesar if that works for you, Sean. Let me.
I actually wanted to see if you would like get down like some busted moves and stuff like that. Do like a little
I'm not that talented.
on the DX
I'm not
line.
that talented. All right, let's see.
So you'd rather just eat a wrap instead of actually do one?
Exactly. Guys, we're gonna make a poll. I'm setting up the poll. Sean's got me rapping here. So DX line stay.
Corner with the line and the blow-in pop. He wants to know which route you got.
What can't Sean do, guys? He's just a Renaissance man. But guys, there you go. The poll's up. DX line, stay or go. And of course, we're going to save the final results until the end of the stream. And that's how we're going to close out our thoughts on the DX line as a whole. But guys, we're gonna take a look we took a brief look and heard everybody's thoughts on the previous announcements from this DX line. Of course, we're going to take a look at some of these in detail with some YouTube videos, and we're going to talk about some individual figures. But I want to read some comments real quick, as you guys have already been sharing your thoughts as we're discussing the history of the DX line. But real quick, Insane One says, this looks like the smartest chat around, so I know you will leave a like and subscribe to the Hot Toys Hotline and this killer panel if you haven't already. My tapeworm, thanks y'all. But yes, guys, if you're new here, please consider subscribing to the channel and drop a like on this video. I lost Cigars comment, but Cigars was also saying pump those likes up. But yes, please, guys, if you haven't already, pump those likes up. Jordan Skinner, what's up, by the way, Jordan? Jordan says, the value of what you're getting from standard has improved. That's why. Since the price is higher than it used to be, people expect more for their dollar. And I certainly think that's true for sure. And again, we're going to get into details as to what came with the old figures, what comes with the new figures, and where we think maybe some improvement could be made. But I totally agree. I do think people have a higher expectation now that prices are kind of going up. Of course, they have recently kind of stayed around the same, which is good to see. But overall, they're obviously from many years ago, we've seen a huge price hike on these figures. So that's definitely fair to say. Joe P says, I need an updated Michael Jackson. You and me both, dude. I know InArt has talked about doing Michael Jackson. I don't know if Hot Toys has any interest in doing that anytime soon. So I definitely would love to see some nice Michael Jackson figures coming out. I do kind of want that old Thriller set from Hot Toys, the Thriller Michael Jackson set. So I'm still kind of eyeing that one up, but definitely agree with you there. Kumar says, my very first DX figure was the DX07. Great choice. And the latest is the new Mando Luke. So went from 2 figures to an additional cardboard and accessories. And the price has gone up 30%. And again, guys, we're going to get real into detail, but that just shows you there some people's thoughts on the DX line as a whole. Looks like Sean just updated me. It looks like the DX01 that we talked about was the 2-pack. Let me pull that up for you guys. There we go. There you go, Sean. Had I just clicked on it, Sean, we would have known the truth. So yes, this is what Sean was talking about, guys. The DX01 was the purple coat Joker and the policeman Joker 2-pack that Sean was talking about. So there you go. Thank you, Sean, for updating us on that. So yeah, guys, if you want your policeman Joker, it came from the DX01 set. OG says, DX only ever meant details extra, and we put it in our minds what DX should be. I think most Hot Toys have felt like DX to me. Yeah, I mean, of course, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, or beauty value is in the eye of the beholder as well. You know, what you spend your money on is what is important to you. So, again, that's the best way to go about it. We're going to take a look at some of these older figures and kind of see what they came with, and then compare it to some of the more recent DX stuff. Toybox says, by the way, how's it going, Toybox? Toybox says, just grabbed a Thor set off from Mercari for $260. Well, congratulations. I'm very jealous. That is a killer price. As long as there's nothing wrong with it, you made out like a bandit. Big Dog Pound says, I want a DX Queen Amidala. So I actually pre-ordered that third-party Queen Amidala because it's just such a unique look, and I was very excited to see that go up. But yeah, Hot Toys, if they took a stab at that, maybe when they go back and do Phantom Menace anniversary stuff, that would be really cool. Excuse me. So, guys, now we're going to get into some individual figures because, again, in order to learn about the past, we have to take a look at the past. So, this is one, guys, that is, I think, interestingly, very relevant right now because we recently got a pretty honest offering from Present Toys on a third-party Indiana Jones figure. And, of course, right now also, we're right around the corner from Indy 5. And a lot of people are hoping that maybe Hot Toys goes back and does another Indiana Jones figure. So I figured why not start with the DX05. So this is a pretty old figure, guys. I mean, you saw, again, I put the link in the chat. If you guys want to follow along with all the dates and everything when this stuff was announced, feel free to do so. But and we talk about the packaging, guys. But right off the bat, like when you see this packaging, this just looks very fancy to me. It looks elegant. It's not what we typically see from most art boxes from Hot Toys. And obviously that was something that was established very much so early on for the DX line was better packaging, better presentation. And you can see that here with this figure for sure. This is a very old figure. So keep in mind, guys, if you're looking at the paint apps and you're like, oh, those aren't so good. This is a very old figure. The original retail price for this guy long ago was $249.99. again, you have to keep in mind for today's prices, you can't say like, oh, the new prices are $100 more. That's horrible, because obviously there's a lot of inflation over the years. So you have to keep that in mind. But Owen in the detail office in the chat, he says DX05 doesn't hold up like the DX06. Yeah, we know you love your Jack Sparrow, dude. Don't worry, Owen. I promise you, we're gonna talk about your favorite DX figure. Don't you worry. But yeah, guys, I wanted to take a look at this Indiana Jones figure, and maybe we could speed this up just a little bit. Let me see. But yeah, again, guys, the packaging is very elegant. That's what I love about the DX figures, is that's kind of your first and foremost experience with these, is this unboxing experience. The other thing is here, you can see with this one, like you open it up and you're greeted with like this embossed Indy on the left side, and then you have this little map on the inside, talking about the discovery of the Ark of the Covenant. I just think it's very clever. Like this is more than just opening a figure up. It's more so an experience. And again, that's what Hot Toys kind of try to create with these figures. But Ryan, as we're looking at this figure, man, like, do you think this one holds up? I do agree with Owen. I think when I look at this head sculpt, I'm like, man, you could definitely see its age, but it is cool to see the amount of stuff it came with, for the time. This is a very old release, but what are your thoughts, man? When you look at this one, you're like, maybe I'll just get the present toys one because it's much more updated. That's kind of where I am with this one, but yeah, DX05, dude, what are your thoughts on it? Especially after you see what he comes with when he lifts this up. I know you've probably seen this, but man, such a release. He comes with a lot of stuff.
Yeah, I mean it's a lot, especially for what the price was back then. It is hard looking at it with a different pair of eyes, knowing that there's the present toys one that probably looks a little bit better, but it's still a lot of stuff for it.
Yeah.
I still think the figure does look great. I didn't get a chance to see the head sculpt. I had to look at the head sculpt again to see. Obviously, it's a little outdated, but I mean, it still looks great to me. A lot of stuff, packaging. I mean, it's funny looking at these older figures because it's like that damn diamond display.
Oh yeah, we
like
hit that base.
That like it's been on like I have like 6 of those, just from like the Darth Maul to Golden Wonder Woman to Thanos. It's like I got like 7 versions of that same damn base. It's unbelievable. But I like everything that's going on with it. I mean, it looks really great. Like I said, a lot of the cool stuff. I wonder how much was this back in the day? Like, it had to be like in the 2 somethings, right?
$249.99. And look at the amount of stuff he comes with, dude. I mean,
Oh,
he's got that really cool diorama, multiple firearms. He's got
to be honest with you, the DX figures overall, I mean, we can like run through them. Honestly, there's so many of them that still I think hold up today. There's very few of them. Maybe the Jokers and the Batman, the Dark Knights, I think are ones that are like, yeah, they needed to be revamped a few times. But like, I mean, even if this was still in my collection, it's still an impressive piece, with the packaging. It's just that it's hard watching these videos because I get salty over it, because it's like you see the packaging and stuff like that. And it's like, that's what I wish they were. And you kind of see how they kind of faded out, so to speak, especially when I open up the DX20 Ahsoka, and it's like, wheat wah. It's like
they started so strong. I mean, this is the DX05, and it's just like it comes with an incredible amount of stuff, and it's like this is like what they established for this line long ago, and it's like it's very interesting to look back at it and see like, man, this is what the DX line used to be. It used to be this extravagant thing where it's like, okay, you're going to get more than you usually get with these figures.
Yeah.
And it comes with a ton of stuff, man. And it's like, if I feel like if the present toys one came with this amount of stuff, a lot of people would lean in that direction. But this one just came with so many things. And even like Sideshow long ago, they did a lot of Indiana Jones stuff. They did diorama pieces. They did figures that obviously don't hold up very well. But It's unfortunate, Peyton, that I agree with Ryan very much so. I hate this. Marty McFly comes with it, and his is the most puzzling. They put like this little cardboard lake photo on top of it, and it's just clunky, and it's just not the best, but for sure. And TX Boy says, I feel like after all these years, $100 increase isn't too bad. No, it's certainly the actual price itself is not far off from the original pricing. It's more so what they're including for it being a DX release. I think what it is for a lot of people, and again, when we close out our thoughts later and we look at the more recent releases, we'll talk about it more. But the other thing is, like, as I'm watching this video, you can see this is Justin's video. You can see his holsters flaking. So this is a very old release, obviously, but very interesting that I haven't watched this video from him, just call it that. But Yeah, it's about what they come with, considering they're being called a DX release. I think for a lot of people, it's not even necessarily the price. It's like, why is this considered a DX? I think that's the thought of most people.
Hot Toys. I mean, I'm not. Hot Toys, I think, is desaturating what a DX is compared to what it was.
Yeah,
And it's just the nature of the beast. Like I said, I'm not giving away anything. It's just the natural progression of figures coming out and, improvements in technology. But that's one of my gripes with Hot Toys overall is it's their inconsistent use of technology, if that makes sense, or materials. And I know we had a fun. I know those are fun people. I know Owen and 8-Bit. We had a fun conversation this morning, to say the least, about QCs. And there in Justin's video, brand new pleather didn't die. But the inconsistent use of technology. And what I mean by that is materials. Like, why does some have leather? What there's a lot of whys. Like, why did this one use pleather? Why did that one use leather? Why is that's the issue that I have with it.
Yeah.
And I think that Hot Toys, just nature of the beast, I guess, they kind of desaturated, so to speak, the whole DX line, or the last few of them, by incorporating 8-Bit, 8-Bit, we're good, man. 8-Bit's but yeah, so I don't, I think they do stuff sometimes. It's a shame, because these figures were just so damn awesome, and they're just, I think, it just stinks to see them kind of watered down now compared to what they were.
Yeah. And guys, again, remember, this is going to make sense later in the stream. Remember that comment from Owen about the pleather flaking in the box. Remember that, because that's going to come into play later. And you guys on the panel, I haven't told you, but you may understand where I'm going with this. But real quick, we have a super chat. But before we read that, Cigar says, fun fact, the golden idol that they modeled from a fertility goddess from Indy 1 was just revealed to be a fake. That's crazy, dude. I did not know that. I did not know that. That is very interesting. Well, hey, at least you have a fake of a fake if you were to get the DX05 hot toy. But real quick, guys, we have a 23.90 Malaysian ringgit donation from Kumar. Thank you so much, Kumar. That's very generous of you. Kumar says, the last figure which I really felt I got more than my money's worth is the 501st Deluxe, not a DX. One thing I miss is if the DX goes from the foam insert. Yeah, I mean, and we talked about this recently, the foam inserts with these boxes. It's just a special unboxing experience. And recently we saw Iconic with their Patrick Bateman.
I was going to say, Patrick Bateman could have been a DX.
Yeah.
That could have been a DX figure, honestly. I didn't mean to cut you off.
It's very true.
If you took that Iconic off and put Hot Toys on it, DX, I don't think anyone would have been upset about that, for the amount of stuff that thing came with. That could have been a DX.
I totally agree with you. And then even if we're not even talking about the accessories, let's just say that the packaging, I mean, that's DX level packaging right there that we saw from Iconic. And
I actually won't throw that box out.
Well, you can't. We talked about this, dude. Your reservation at Dorsia.
Oh, I can't get rid of my reservation. And they got me with the inside diorama. They screwed me. I can't get rid of it now.
I mean, shout out to Iconic for that.
If they want me to keep the boxes going forward, the Hot Toys, you got to do that. You got to make the inside dioramas if you don't want Mr. Mom.
Yeah, if you're listening, Howie, I know we had the fake Howie Chan in chat, but of course, Ryan, I got to do this for Kumar. Kumar, this is for your generosity. Of course, we gotta start out with the best of the best. He's not here yet, so I'll get it out before he gets
son
here.
of a...
Son, you make sure you get them hot doors packed
you got
in there.
Super chat.
What's that?
Super chat.
Oh. Hey there. Heard you gave us a super chat. Well, Hot Toys Hotline and I just want to say thank you very much.
There you go, Kumar. That's for you from our favorite UPS driver. And once again, thank you so much for the generous donation. And Cigars and Bacon says Iconic Ryu can be considered a DX, and I absolutely agree, wholeheartedly. It's crazy, and that's another great point from you guys, is that other companies like Iconic are putting out releases that could be considered a DX, and at a very fair price. $289 is their standard price point over there. Chris, you just missed it. We were just showing your beautiful face on camera. But guys, Big Dog Pound, I told you he was a little late again with the belt, but late doesn't mean that he's not going to show up ready to go. So, Chris, just let him have it.
It doesn't mean that we're not going to show up at all. That's what we do, and we get the party started
What's up, chat? What's up, panel? Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button while you're over there. And let's go. He's the Hot Toys dealing, the Rolex wearing. This ain't a Rolex, but it could pass.
Give it a slap.
Like you slapped the truck.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to lower the volume. I'm getting ready to lower the volume on my mic, my microphone.
There you go. We love the enthusiasm. We love it.
Every time Chris comes on, CSI actually just said it. Every time Chris comes on, I make sure I lower the volume real fast.
Yeah, lowering the volume.
I do.
Now. Good call. Good call. Late Bloomer says, them brown shirt boys dropped off my carnage earlier today. You got to love them, dude. You got to love them. But Chris, just to get you up to speed, we're just kind of going through some older DX releases. We're about to move on to Sean's thoughts. We're talking about the DX05 Indiana Jones. But right before we get started with Sean, Big Dog Pound, he wants some more, dude. He wants some more. Big Dog Pound says, right back at you, LOL. Chris, you better be prepared to come back. Maybe we won't do the super chat message. Maybe we'll just get a really loud woo from Chris as he's chewing on food. But Big Dog Pound, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. I very much appreciate it. Chris, I think we're going to skip out on the video and we're just going to get a personal message from you for Big Dog Pound.
You got to do the lip, though.
Wake up the neighbors, baby. Wake them up.
You can't make me laugh when I do this.
Do it. You can do it.
You can do it.
Hey there. Toys Hotline, and I want to say thank you very much. I found this pretty gold belt sitting in here in Chris's room, and I thought it looked pretty dang good. So we just want to say thank you very much.
There you go, Big Dog Pound, a custom message. Love it. Right on the spot, Chris. You did great.
Oh my God.
We appreciate you, Big Dog Pound. Thank you so much.
Oh, man.
But, yeah, this is a fun stream so far. Chris is just bringing the heat. But Sean, as we're looking at this this Indiana Jones, man, how do you feel about this? It's obviously an older release, DX05. What are your thoughts on it? Me, when I look at the sculpt, I'm like, it's definitely a good likeness, but the paint apps are definitely suffering a little bit, and we saw some pleather flaking on this really old release. What are your thoughts on it, man?
My thoughts on it are very simple. It's been a long time since we've had, what's his name?
Harrison Blord.
And it's been a long time since, I don't know, what's his name? Han Solo. This is my thing.
That's a trigger word, Sean. Everybody in the chat is a trigger word.
Is Bespin. I see this and it's like, okay, Hot Toys has made so much improvement in head sculpts. So they really have. Yeah. So that's the one with the cuts and everything on his face look better than the one that was clean.
I agree.
All the accessories and everything are good, and we're lacking a lot of that nowadays.
Yeah.
But the price has gone up and they're producing less.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate truth with the DX line, man. And again, once we take a look at the newer figures, it's really going to put it in perspective. But Sean, since you mentioned Bespin, dude, we gotta bring up the next one that is a very, very important DX figure, and that's the DX07 Luke Skywalker, man. Let me make this full screen here.
Look
this
at
is actually
that
a video
price
from
for a 2-pack, bro.
Yeah, and we're gonna start with you, Chris. What are your thoughts? And obviously, this is an older release, DX07, but $299 was the original retail price for this, and dare I say, this is basically the gold standard for the DX line, I think, for a lot of people, because this is a 2-pack through and through. You got 2 bodies, 2 different head sculpts, 2 different outfits. You got the battle damage outfit, you got the battle damage sculpt. So when a lot of people look back, man, this is a special one. What are your thoughts, man, looking back at this DX07?
Not only that, but isn't it the first Star Wars Hot Toys they released as well?
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. The very first.
So it's
Star
like
Wars
a very, very special figure.
This was the first Star Wars Hot Toy ever?
It was the first Star Wars Hot Toy ever. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. My brother unfortunately sold it, so F in the chat for him. First of all,
Hey, but there's a
Second
new
of
one,
all,
right, Chris? There's a new one. Hey, come on now. Come on.
yeah,
Now.
but it
It's not the
even
same.
though I think the skull, yeah, it doesn't have the same nostalgia fact. Well, I guess you could say nostalgic from the film, but like just having this big of a box, like if you opened it like this guy is, everything that come, they just don't do it like that anymore, to be honest. And when he had it, even though I wasn't the one like opening it, I was right there wanting to get my hands on it. So I've seen it in person. It truly is a beauty. It's a special thing. I wish they would do more of these, especially in the Star Wars line. I think
Sean's just showing off, Chris. There you go.
Yeah, we actually hung ours from the ceiling, which is
Yeah, because
pretty
it has
it's,
screw
it's,
mounting points on it, right? The antenna, I think, which is really
dude,
cool.
It's an amazing piece. I literally have nothing bad to say about it, besides you can maybe update the sculpt on it.
Yeah.
And that doesn't say like I know it's had its other issues with the boots or whatever, but if you got lucky, you didn't have that problem. Like his didn't flake. I don't know what else to say, man. I really enjoy this piece. I wish I had it in my collection. It's a bit out there now, and it's kind of hard to come across one that's pretty close to perfect or how it came, when it was shipped
especially
out.
with the flaking issues with the boots and stuff. It's difficult, man. It really is. But yeah, it's crazy with this one because it's like this is again, to me, this is like the gold standard. Like we said, first Star Wars release, you get 2 whole figures. You get the antenna that you could screw into your ceiling, or like Sean has it set up.
And he also had that exclusive thing with the Darth Vader helmet too.
Yeah, he has the Darth Vader Cave of Evil helmet, which we do see with the new, obviously, guys, for those that don't know, they did re-release this one with less accessories, some different accessories. Doesn't come with the antenna or the battle damage look, but yeah, this is certainly, I think, in my opinion, especially being a Star Wars fan, this is definitely one of the most special DX releases. And I, believe it or not, guys, I don't have this because I was very much riding on there being a new release of this because of all the issues with the flaking of the pleather, which is very common on this one. I was holding out hope for the longest time for a new one, and I was so glad to see that we got a new one. And of course, I do think they did a good job at kind of giving those who had the original set something exclusive to that set. That's very special, being that antenna. But yeah, Chris, I think this is a really special release, and like some people were saying in the chat,
battle
like
damage too.
Yeah, I mean the battle damage I think actually holds up more than that original version because the sculpt definitely is a bit off on that clean regular version, but I think the battle damage still holds up decently well, especially with a new paint job. I think it would hold up very well.
I think my brother also took the snow speeder head sculpt and put the hair on this one when he did have it.
Yeah.
Mint easily.
Yeah.
Like, so you could upgrade if you wanted to with all the Lukes that are out there, but.
And I'm curious, like, and this is a question for the chat and the panel. How many people saw that new Luke release and said, you know what, I'd rather have the original. I'd rather have the DX07. Me personally, again, I was waiting out. So you kind of saw it and you're like, man, I love the stuff that original DX came with. This new one is not quite what I expected, And well, I think a lot of people were disappointed that it didn't have the antenna.
Yeah, not just that, because I would say that the new one does look pretty good. I'll give him that. It was more like just everything you got with this one. You got 2 bodies, 2 head sculpts, the antenna. It was just thrown at you more.
Yeah.
And even for the price that it's gone to, I would still try to choose that one over the new one.
Could some of that be though for the fact that this was now it makes more sense to me knowing that this was the first ever Star Wars Hot Toys.
That's really what it boils down to.
Otherwise, do you think that if they had a couple Star Wars figures under their belt, would you still have gotten 2 figures? You probably wouldn't have.
Yeah, because this might be like a celebration of like, hey, this is the Star Wars.
I didn't know this was the first Hot Toy for Star Wars. Now this makes total sense why for that price you got 2 figures and doubled up on everything. Because they said for the hell of it, they're going out, they're starting off with a bang. I didn't know that. I thought I never bothered to do the research, but I didn't really honestly think that this was the first ever Hot Toy from Star Wars Hot Toy. That's why it makes so much sense to me why you're getting so much for that value, because I think they want to really,
kind of start it with a bang. I mean, that makes sense. It certainly makes sense, but and maybe them doing that kind of set the bar too high, And real quick, I want to say what's up to Costa from Pop Culture Living Room. What's up, Costa? Great to see you. And Costa says the new one is better, but the diorama is what I want. And yeah, and 8-Bit also says that the new one is better to me, and I would agree with that. I personally think overall, of course, you're going to prefer the new one, new body, updated paint apps, new sculpt. But I think the DX07 just came with better stuff, you know. And we did get to see the Cave of Evil, Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker sculpt return. But now we have these new display bases that this new DX set comes with, which is cool. But I mean, come on now. One of the most iconic moments in Empire Strikes Back is when Luke is kind of hinted at by Darth Vader that he is his father, and then he escapes after getting his hand cut off. So I think there's a lot of nostalgia. And like Ryan said, this is the first Star Wars release, so that makes it extra special, you know. Obviously, we know what Sean thinks about this one because he has it in his collection. Sean, and I'm curious, before we move on to another figure, do you feel inclined to get the new one because you love this character so much, or are you very much happy with what you have now?
So I've actually ordered the new one, the deluxe version, already. Between the two different DXs for the new version, I wish one was still clean and one was dirty.
Yeah.
If they would have gone that route. But the deluxe one comes with what was the exclusive piece to the DX07. And then it comes with both the light up base,
which is very cool. I really like that base personally.
Yeah. And it comes with the Dagobah base.
Right.
You know, it comes with two different bases, which is good.
Agreed.
I don't remember if it's USB powered or not.
No.
I don't think it is.
Well, actually, I don't know. It might be USB powered. That might have been. It's hard to say because that announcement was probably very, very much right before they started going crazy with the USB power. If anyone in the chat knows off the top of their head, that's a good question. It may be that may have made it in as USB power. I think it may have. I think that was like right around the time they started going crazy with the USB power for the bases and stuff. But yeah, and real quick, guys, someone in the chat asked why I skipped over the DX06. We're not gonna have time tonight to go through every single DX, so I kind of handpicked some of the more popular ones. So if your favorite ones get skipped, don't worry, we're not skipping over them for any other reason other than just for argument's sake. We're just kind of showing off some of the more popular ones. So, Casa said, I think Obi-Wan Vader was the first to have USB power. I'm not sure. Yeah, Sean.
It was the Obi-Wan from the Obi-Wan show.
Yeah.
That was the first one to have. So there's no USB power on the base that comes with the Bespin Luke.
No, that's why it's a garbage DX. That's what it is.
Yeah.
All right, then. So
I'm looking right now. It doesn't say.
No, it's not. There's no USB.
It's an LED light up function. That's all it says.
Barrett, I know you were
right. Battery. Never mind. It's battery.
Yeah.
Okay. So
yeah.
So thank you, Costa. Obi-Wan was the first USB power. I think the Mark 1 is USB power as well. So I don't know.
Mark 1 was USB. Yes.
I'm not even going to try to pretend like I knew when they really started going.
It was. No, it was Obi-Wan, the Mark 1 were like the really two main, Mark 1 was the first Iron Man that was USB.
Well, it should have been. It should have. How dare you? Now I'm mad. No, I'm not.
What's that? The Bespin Luke? It should have had USB.
Yeah, it should have had USB power for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because to be fair, I'm going to find a way to hardwire them like I've done with all my bases. But the average consumer, they're not going to want to mess with that. And I understand why. It's a pain in the butt to wire your display. But yeah, I mean, again, guys, I definitely wanted to talk about this one because we especially because we have a new version of it incoming. I was very curious to hear about everybody's thoughts. But we're going to move on to our next one. Someone actually just brought it up in the chat. Go ahead, Chris.
You know what the this one doesn't have that the new one will have though?
What's that?
Even if it's not USB, it's the lightsaber. The lightsaber doesn't light up.
That's true.
And I think it was two different sabers. You couldn't take the blade out either.
Spider-Man 2099. Thank you.
The blade comes out.
Thank you.
Does it?
Yeah.
I thought on one of them it didn't.
Yeah. Barrett, yeah. I don't at all think that the Hot Toys USB sabers are going to be like CFL level sabers. I'm not naive enough
light
at
up
all.
the same and just be plugged in.
Yeah, I don't at all think that that's going to happen. But yeah,
but that's a big difference. That's a big difference though compared to the batteries though.
For sure. I mean, at the end of the day, if it's the same amount of light, if not a little bit more, and I don't have to put batteries in, that's a win. You know, considering the prices, like Palpatine, or excuse me, Darth Sidious, 265, and he has 2 USB powered sabers. I can't complain. Mike says I missed 45 minutes of the stream. Gonna have to catch. That's all good, man. You can always go back and watch it, like you said. But moving on to our next one, guys. Actually, someone in the chat just mentioned this one, so perfect timing. Again, it's gonna be some jumps. There's gonna be some jumps. But next one we're going to talk about, guys, is one that I would really like to be able to find for a good price, and that's the DX13 Battle Damage Terminator.
This is literally the only one I want.
And it's funny, guys, and as we start to talk about this one, I think this one holds up really well. I really do. I have seen this one in person. I haven't seen a considerable amount of these in person, but I have seen this one in person. Oh, that's right. Cigars is right. We do see, actually, we do see the USB powered saber in that Vader video. I completely forgot about that. Yeah, so I guess so. I guess that is about the same brightness, but as long as it's powered by USB, that's a plus in my book, you know. But yeah, guys, to me, I think this one is one that holds up really well. This is one that if it somehow fell into my lap and I could get a good deal on it, I'd probably end up picking it up. I got to be honest with you. I don't believe in this video that this is because there is an exclusive version that has a Robert Patrick T1000 head sculpt for the liquid metal statue that it comes with, whereas the default is just obviously like this smooth liquid metal face. But this is a very, very special pack because, again, you get the figure, you get all these accessories, you get swap out parts for the figure, you get the liquid metal T1000 kind of statue that goes along with it. So I think for Terminator collectors, Chris, would you say that this is the Grail in terms of Terminator figures? Do you think this is the Grail Terminator figure? Like the one
absolutely.
to get out of all of them? I would agree with that, right?
Yeah, it's the one everybody talks about. Just
What
the
are your
battle
thoughts on
damage
it, man?
alone.
You're a big Terminator 2 fan. It's really special to you. What are your thoughts on this DX13? Because I know you don't have this one, and I don't have it either. Is this something you would go back and get if you saw a good deal for it?
Absolutely. I keep an eye out for it all the time. Like, it's my childhood wrapped in a box right there. And the battle damage part alone is what sells this thing. I think it looks way better than the regular version. The regular version's cool, but like if you got battle damage, just all that detail makes it feel more realistic. And the fact that you can see the endoskeleton underneath, you know, provides that belief that there is a machine underneath the skin and whatnot. And then, of course, you get the T1000 liquid metal
accessory, man.
You can pose them with it. Like, yeah, it's a fingerprint magnet, but
who cares?
It's for real at that point.
And then, like I said, and I'm sure you know this, with the exclusive version, you actually get a Robert Patrick head sculpt, which is super cool. I mean, for that alone for me is like, I gotta find the exclusive. If I ever end up hunting this one down, it's like you get 2 head sculpts for the liquid metal T1000, you get 2 head sculpts for the Terminator. So it's like the T800 Terminator. So that to me is like, man, this was a very packed release. And you see a lot of people, when we pulled this one up, a lot of people in the chat are like really excited to talk about this one.
That, and to answer 8-bit Flayed, the leather on this one is faux, it's pleather, and I think the DX10 was the one that had the real leather.
I think on this one, Owen told me this was like a plasticky material. I don't Owen, if you're still here, because I know you have a lot of experience with these figures. I think Owen told me this one is not quite pleather, but it's like a plasticky material. I forgot exactly how he worded it, but yes, the DX10 I know for sure is real leather. Barrett says this is the Grail of Grails. Payton says this is probably the best sculpt they've ever done. Well, it's certainly up there, but dude, you know, for me, I'm like, you know, Ryan and I especially, we're all about that Yondu sculpt or that Grand Moff Tarkin sculpt. There's a lot of good sculpts, especially all the old men. We talk about this a lot. All the old men.
Jack
has
Nicholson
done a great job. Yeah, Jack Nicholson, DX08 Joker, such a fantastic head sculpt. And some of the newer stuff, guys, let's not sleep on like these newer head sculpts. Either that Anakin Skywalker head sculpt, I'm very excited to see the final product on that one. But yeah, this is such a cool release, man. Kumar says, and we'll get into Ryan's thoughts. Kumar says, for the DX13, the pleather on the jacket seems to be good, unlike other figures, which are more susceptible to damage. At most, you only see the belt gets rotten. Not sure if it's any different with in material. Yeah, that's a good question. And real quick, guys, those of you that aren't familiar, we're going to bring up the PERS system later. This is the original PERS system here with a little rod on the inside that you turn. InArt is using something similar now. A lot of companies are using that kind of this style, but Hot Toys used to do the PERS system this way. You had a little stick on the inside with the DX line, and you could move the stick around, and it would move the eyeballs at the same time. So for those of you that aren't aware, that is what they're doing here. This is for the adjustment on the eyeballs.
Seam in the hair wasn't that bad either for this figure. Like they did a good job with it.
What do I think of the seam on the hair? Let's see. I don't know, Chris. I don't know.
Never mind. It might be the DX where it pops out. That was pretty bad.
It looks like he got brain surgery and they stuck the back of his scalp back on. But
it's one of them. It's either the DX where his hair like
it is a very old
over
figure,
and it blends in. But yeah,
it is a very old figure for sure. It looks like we have Collector Joey in the chat. What's up, Collector Joey? And Cigar says the chrome is notorious for flaking bad. Yeah, I have seen a lot of people have issues with that one. You definitely got to be careful. And, those chrome finishes, man. It's always been definitely a stain for collectors. I mean, look what happened with a lot of these chrome releases from Hot Toys, man. Cigars says DX10 was the only one with leather. All the others were cheap pleather. Oh, there we go. This is what Owen told me. He said it's PVC, so it shouldn't flake, but the belt was pleather. And that kind of goes along, lines up with what Kumar was saying. He was saying that the material may be different from the belt versus the jacket. So that makes sense. Thank you for sharing that with us because I wasn't certain myself. I knew the DX10 was the only one with real leather, but I wasn't certain about that. Jordan asked a question. Maybe everybody on the panel can kind of chime in this. Would you prefer a better figure or more stuff? I think they could find a balance, And again,
I'm an accessory guy, so.
Right, and I very much agree with that, Chris. And I very much believe that it all depends on what type of figure it is. And again, this is part of our big part of this conversation, which is DX releases, right? I think with a DX release, you expect a good figure and a good amount of stuff. So that's the tough part about these newer figures being labeled DX releases. And again, we have to look back at figures like this to see kind of where we came from. I mean, look at all the firearms. Look at the display base, the T-1000 statue, the extra swap out jacket, like the extra head sculpts for both, especially if you get the exclusive. Like, this is a lot of stuff. You get a swap out arm with the exposed endoskeleton wiring. A lot of stuff came with this. So I would pay a little bit more if it came with more stuff. I gotta be honest with you. I very much would. And that's just my personal thought on it. If it's going to be a true DX release, we get a great figure, a great amount of accessories, I would pay a little bit more. 8-Bit says as long as it doesn't fall apart, it should be okay still. Yeah, Joey, some people do prefer that old like stick style system. I'll be honest with you. I don't find the need to adjust the eyes very much after I originally get the figure. I put them in the position I want them in, and I kind of keep them there for the most part. But yeah, the stick is definitely much easier as opposed to pulling out that little stick that they use now, the separate stick, and use that to adjust. David says, surprised the Predator line never received a DX. Yeah, I mean, I certainly feel like some of those Predator figures came with enough stuff to be considered a DX. But Ryan, I'm curious, dude. Would you consider picking this one up now today? I already told you I certainly would, but
I mean, not for the price.
On your radar? Not
for the price it's going for on the market. I mean, it's considered probably like if people think of like the top 3 DXs, this is definitely up there. It's like this. Agree. Yeah. I mean, even like one of the original Terminators is probably still up there. You know, I would arguably say if everyone had to pick like their top 3 DX figures, at least 1 or 2 of them are probably Terminators, and maybe Jack Sparrow or Jack Nicholson or something like, you know what I mean? Like it's definitely up there in terms of everyone's, like if they had to pick top 3, this one's definitely either the clean version or this one or even both. So it's like it's quite astonishing to see how well it's whole. Excuse me, my voice is a little, I have my sore throat, so my voice is going a little bit if it's hard for me to talk. But yeah, it's amazing how well it holds up over time. A little questionable as to why would they use leather on the DX10 and then not on the DX13?
Yeah.
Is it because it's battle damage? And I guess maybe because like creating the rips and stuff will be hard to do it on leather. So it's easy, this
right, to punch out the different
this
rips and everything,
pleathery PV, whatever material is easier to work
PVC,
with. It's
yeah.
probably that. It's probably that because it's easier to work with. But
I think you're probably right.
it's just an assumption. But that goes kind of hitting back in terms of like why there's an inconsistency of what they use. So I'm assuming it's because it's easier to battle damage this material. But like I said, it's pretty crazy. The sculpt it's up there. I don't think it's perfect anymore. Even compared to other DX figures, like I said, there's other DX, the Jack Nicholson. Like if we had to pick, I'm sorry, you must love that Luke. Yeah, yeah. Out of all the DX figures, it's crazy how like there's still some of them that like the Jack Nicholson, the Jack Sparrow, one of them, they still absolutely hold up to everything they've done today, which is insane to me.
Yeah,
this is up there. I wouldn't say it's like a top 5 sculpt, but it's a fantastic representation.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
It's not top 5, but it's up there where it can live up to today's standards. Put it this way, you could put this up against any regular $260 hot toy figure they probably put out. That's nothing too crazy and would hold its own against them 100%.
Yeah,
in terms of sculpt wise, I'm talking about the sculpt. I mean.
Yeah, I think this is a very strong release, and this
absolutely.
is one of the other ones you look at, and like you said, I do agree. I think this is probably up there with one of the better DX releases that are certainly more sought after.
Like if you had to pick your top 3, this is probably going to be in it.
Yeah, I would agree.
That battle damage sculpt is pretty fire, though, in my opinion.
It definitely is.
And this is another one, right? And Present Toys, obviously, they saw a lot of people paying a lot of money for these. So they did a battle damage one as well. So that's going to kind of, if you're a collector that purchases third-party stuff, you may say, I don't want to spend $450, $500 plus.
I didn't know they did a battle damage one.
They did. It's actually still up for pre-order. I
might
got the clean
look
version.
at that, bro. Because the only thing I really want is the head sculpt, the T1000P, and then the accessories that come with this. And like, I do want the duffel bag, which I think is in the 10, but
yeah, in
this one there's still a lot of stuff that you can get throughout that happened to him throughout the film. All right, what the
I don't know why he's doing this, but now we're here.
All right, just in case somebody wanted to, I respect it.
That's true. I think maybe Sean was thinking about doing this, right, Sean? Sean looks puzzled.
So
Sean, let's get your thoughts, man. What are your thoughts on this?
Is Sean
DX13?
frozen?
No,
he's alive and well. Sean, what are your thoughts, man? What are your thoughts on the DX13, dude?
So forward, it looks great. With the hairline sucks.
Yeah, Chris.
This
Chris
piece,
it looks pretty good, man.
The T1000 though piece is really nice. I never knew that it was flaking before. I've never had this.
I've seen it happen to some people, especially if you drop it, you're probably gonna ruin it,
Yeah. But I didn't know that would flake on people. So that's good to know. I like the blood paint and everything on it. How they did that, especially with the torn apart face, where the bullet holes are at on the face as well. Especially that left really forehead cool. one. Whose video is this?
I think this is a more recent video. Gemi Toys. We've checked out his videos before. Yeah, Gemi Toys. Yeah, if you guys want to go and watch this video.
But see, this is like with all these accessories, this is what a DX should be.
Exactly. And then you have the jacket. You have a swap out jacket for the destroyed arm. Like, this is what we expected from a DX release, Owen said his T1000 had mold. That's disgusting. And same one says, resistance is futile. Leave a like and subscribe to the Hot Toys hotline in this fire panel if you haven't already. My tapeworm thanks you all. But yes, guys, if you haven't already, consider subscribing to the channel and drop a like on this stream. But yeah, Sean, I totally agree with you, dude. I think this is a shining example of what a DX figure should be. And this next one we're going to take a look at, and I kind of want to segue. We're going to start.
It's one you want.
And it's one I want. Yeah, it's one that I want myself. But Sean, the next one we're going to segue into, I want to start off with you on this one. And Owen, I'm proud to say
is this the one you guys are going to talk about? I swear to God, if this is the one I think you guys are going to talk about, it's all I hear you guys talk about.
Oh, is this Carnage?
No, yeah.
of Captain Jack
All right.
Sparrow.
Jack
I'm-
Sparrow.
I'm turning
There
my
we
mic.
go.
I'll see you guys later.
Yes, guys,
I
we're
want
talking
this
about
too, bro. Don't let him.
the
Don't let him.
DX15 Jack Sparrow, and the original retail price on this one, guys, was $264.99. Sean, we'll start off with you, man. I'm gonna pan on to, and this is 6 scale reviews, by the way, guys. I should be telling you all whose videos we're watching. But Sean, DX15 Jack Sparrow, you know me. This is literally at the top of my list right now. This is the number one in terms of secondary market. This is the one that I personally want the most. So Sean, what are your thoughts on the DX15 Jack Sparrow, man? This is a very special release for me, but I haven't really talked to you much about this. And what are your thoughts, man? And feel free to talk about the DX06 as well in comparison, because I know a lot of people kind of have that internal struggle between the two. But for me, it's going to be the DX15 for sure.
Well, both of them, Jack Sparrow alone, a lot of people, you'll see people that are just hardcore statue fans. Like Chris, the Batman statue collector, complete straight up Batman stuff, statues, 1/3 scale, prime 1. I believe he even collects J&D Studio stuff. And he went and got the DX 5 Jack Sparrow because he loved it that much.
Oh, the DX06, nice.
It's an iconic character. I don't think Disney realized what they were going to do with it.
Yeah.
How much it was going to be liked, perceived. The fact that Johnny Depp, I watched something on it. He basically locked himself up in a sauna and then got out and started stumbling around. And he figured, and he did that on purpose to see how his body would react as if he was in the Mediterranean and stuck on an island alone with no shelter. And he did that to do it. And that's how he came out with the walk. He filmed himself, how he stepped out of that sauna. And that's how we got the walk. And I know Ryan didn't really want to talk about this because he's tired of the booty and everything going on.
Oh no, I'm kidding. I love this. I wish I could get this in a heartbeat if I could.
No.
I mean, how cool is this display base alone, guys? Like, I think this is probably, in my opinion, one of the coolest display bases Hot Toys has ever done.
It's up there as being
They
one,
don't make it like this anymore.
dude. You could turn around and put like Aquaman on this.
Dude, it's so versatile. I mean, even if you had Davy Jones and you wanted to put him with this display base, it would look really cool,
So is there 2 different posts for where you can place the actual holder, or is that for something else?
That's a good question. I imagine it's for the flag. Yeah, it's for the flag.
Okay, my bad.
The
just
reviewer
gets
answered
even
the question
better.
for us. Yeah, it's just the gift that keeps on giving. But it's such a cool display base. And again, we go back to talking about like the DX releases, and I don't think we've seen one after this one that had as cool of a base or as well of a thought out base. It's just so incredible the amount of detail and thought and design that went into this, and now even seeing it with the flag, it's just there's so much that went into it. Even the flag is weathered.
I'm glad that when these figures came out, there wasn't like intense YouTubers and stuff like this now. How like everybody like reacts to videos right away when stuff comes up. Like when a figure gets released,
Right,
like 16
like a
people
reaction announcement.
Yeah, there's like 16 reaction videos in 5 minutes. It's really interesting seeing this because you look at this for $264, and then you could look at like the Joker, who was like probably 264, 265. You could do an easy argument of like, why is this one that much money? Why they're pretty much the same amount of money, and I think you're getting more value out of the Jack Sparrow than you are the Jack Nicholson Joker. That's just my opinion.
I mean, I would agree. It's
just that back then there wasn't opinionated streamers that were like criticizing the price of everything like we do, which is fair because it's just what it is. It's the times. But I'm watching like, dude, they didn't give us the figure, and I'm like, dude, that display base now, like I wonder how much
for it, dude.
Yeah, like I could like scratch that plate off and like put Aquaman on there. That could be like an awesome Aquaman base. I'm just thinking,
bro, you could literally hit it with a blow dryer and just
yeah, I mean,
you know what I mean.
But I'm saying is like that the base is just so like. If you have anything like water-based figures, it's just so cool that you can mix and match anything with it. But
yeah, man. man. I mean,
But I just feel like, you know, 8-bit, sorry if I could talk, I apologize. If 8-bit Flea, he just said Hot Toys is putting in the work at every detail. And I think that sometimes that's missed on the figures nowadays. I think that it's almost like I go back to this question. Would you rather have Hot Toys put out less stuff, but every one of them is a home run, or have them keep the same pace that they're doing right now with figures? I mean, it's just,
So
there's definitely misses in details on some figures because they're putting out so many at a time. There's definitely
like,
misses.
look at this hand
Yeah.
alone, dude.
But it's
Look
just
at the hand
unbelievable
alone.
watching this video.
But one thing I do wish they would do, you know, back when DX was DX, is they actually numbered it. So you would know, just like a statue, like underneath this base, it would say number 101
That would have been cool.
of 4,000, whatever. That would have been awesome.
Hold that thought, Sean. That's a good thought.
Want the jar of
That's
dirt.
a good thought. And how cool was that, dude? The black pearl in the bottle, like, dude, like.
Looks like
Man.
people agree with me in the
Such
chat.
an
Less stuff,
iconic
more
movie.
detail. Connor, people agree. Less stuff, more detail.
Yeah, I mean, and Owen was saying, you know what Owen was saying earlier? He said that he was watching the behind the scenes, and it's incredible the amount of detail that goes into this outfit. And he's saying Hot Toys absolutely nailed it. And yeah, I mean, look at the costume design. Look at all the crap.
Wasn't there another Jack Sparrow though, like a DX?
There's been a few. There's a DX06 Jack Sparrow, the DX15, and then there was another. I think there's
Which
been
one is
3.
arguably the best head sculpt though? Was this one the head?
This one.
I think
one
this
has
one
the better.
personally. I think this one personally.
Yeah.
And yes, Costa's saying slow down, bro. Yeah, Costa, I'm still playing catch up, dude. You know, I'm pre-ordering,
playing
and then
catch up.
there's
I don't
stuff
need
that
to
I need to get. Yeah.
I don't need
At least in my personal opinion, that question that Hot Toy Collector had.
Oh yeah, let me go back to that. Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Wait. There's a Hot Toys collector here that had a question. Sorry.
Oh yeah, so the question was
No,
paying for high prices for the old DX figures against paying high prices for in-art figures, which is more worthwhile? I mean,
It's kind of hard to answer that, but
Oh, I
if
can
you
answer
think
that
about
question
it,
all day.
some DX figures I would pay the price
I think
because it's
Sean and I
lasted
can answer
this
that
long.
question.
You know the quality that you're already getting. That's
yeah.
I'm going
why.
Hot Toys.
It's newer. They don't have that much of history besides the Joker and whatnot. But so it's like whatever you want to spend your money on, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like that question, it's like spend your money where you would want to spend it, whatever is worth it to you. If the Joker is a character that's like very special to you, spend that money. If this Jack Sparrow is a special character to you, spend that money. That's really all I have to say about that. And real quick, I want to say what's up to Ghostbusters Plus Collector. He's saying huge fan of Chris the Batman statue collector, which is who Sean talked about earlier.
Yeah.
What's up, Ghostbusters? It's great to have you here, dude. Let's see. Sorry, I'm just kind of catching up on your comments, guys. 8-Bit says, I agree, it's because they are cranking them out nowadays. And yeah, I mean, and of course, guys, you know, some releases do kind of get the short end of the stick. We recently saw that with Yelena. Yelena was kind of a very disappointing release for a lot of people.
Or the Winter Soldier.
Or the Winter Soldier, Bucky. Yeah, there's releases that they don't get this treatment, you know? And the thing is this treatment isn't always exclusive to DX figures, you know? There's still plenty of great releases outside of the DX line. And again, that's going to be part of our conversation that we have as we continue, or as we move into closing out the stream. But again, guys, I think all of us can agree this DX15 Jack Sparrow is pretty incredible. This is, again, #1 on my list right now. I need to find it for the right price, but it's gorgeous. It really is. I think Hot Toys did a great job. Looking at the sculpt, is there a bit of softness to the paint? Sure. But overall, I think it's a great likeness. I think the amount of stuff he comes with, we'll skip forward here a little bit to some of the accessories. It just looks fantastic, man. And I hate to say it this way, but they just don't make them like they used to. You know, it's like that old saying. You sound like an old man saying that, but they really don't. I mean, it's just you see the presence that this figure has in the shelf, and again, the packaging, the different accessories, that diorama display base, and it's like, man, it's like maybe they have fallen, maybe they've lost their way on this line. Maybe this line has become kind of an afterthought, and they're only announcing figures to kind of appease the life of the line, you know. But I wanted to also, guys, the next one we're going to talk about, I wanted to pull up a kind of a much newer release than a lot of the ones that we talked about tonight. Not so much that much more newer than this one, but this is one that I personally have in my collection. And I think, honestly, I hate to say it, but I think this was the last true DX release for me, in my opinion. And yes, this is going to be the DX17 Darth Maul, DX16 Darth Maul, whichever one suits your fancy.
This
no, we
is
kind of
this is the DX17 with the speeder.
yes, the DX17 has a speeder, and I have it pulled up here. You can
Yeah,
see
that speeder
DX16
is
slash
what makes it worth
DX17
it.
Maul, 282 for the non-speeder version, 405 for the speeder version. Now, guys, I got to be honest with you. Once again, my thought is I think this is the last figure in the DX line that really, truly felt like a DX to me. And it sucks to say because this is only the DX17. There's a lot in between. But I think this is really, after this is where we saw a decline in what to expect from this line. And if you get the DX17, which is the video we're watching here, you can see we get the Darth Maul figure. We get the cloak that you see in the Tatooine scene when he hops off of the bike. You
Makes
get
him
the
mad.
right. You get the screaming sculpt. You get an extra head sculpt that comes with this guy. So again, you very much have the DX15 heel. You get feel. You get the probe droid. You get the Sith probe droid that Maul has at his side at all times in this film. You get an incredible amount of swap out pieces. You get the swooshing blades, the regular blades. You get the light up lightsaber arms. You see you have two of them. Like it's just, and you even get
don't forget the big diamond display.
Oh yeah, our favorite. Now, I will say, Ryan, this is the
Oh, the speeder though.
exactly. This is the only well, the thing that sucks though is that base also comes with the DX16. That
I have the
speeder.
DX16, so
yeah, I would agree with that. If you have the DX17, it makes sense because you have the speeder. But the DX16, it's obnoxious, you know. But I do think, guys, this is the last of the great DX releases, and that's just my personal thought on it. You guys may have different thoughts. I know everybody loves the DX18, the Solo Maul, which we're not going to talk about in detail here, but that one came with a stool. You know, came with a stool.
You got a necklace too. Don't forget about that.
Oh, and don't forget about the luggage tag or whatever it came with. But
And an accurate lightsaber hilt.
yeah, can't forget that, man. DX line. All
I
day.
mean, it was seen in a hologram, so
Yeah. Costa says, I love my DX17. Me too, dude. And I know a lot of people had something to say about the inaccuracy of kind of the tattoos on his face being etched in. But if you could look past that, I think this is such a fantastic release. I mean, guys, look. Just take a look at this photo here. This is a DX release. To me, this is a DX release through and through. Again, especially if you get the 17 that has the Sith speeder. It's incredible the amount of stuff comes with it. Plenty of hands. You even have the swap out little cuff that has the probe droid controller on it. Just overall, just the attention to detail and the attention to the accessories on this one was pretty incredible. And I think for the time, let's say you take the Sith speeder out of it, 282 for the amount of stuff you get is pretty fantastic, in my opinion. And this one is not that old. This isn't a super old release like the DX05. You know, this is many years in the future. I don't have that link pulled up anymore. I'd love to. I can't remember because I bought this one when it was still in stock. And I think this one went out of stock in 2020. I think this one it finally dried up, but it's not an old announcement. You know, this is a relatively
It came out
new
the last
figure.
part of 2019.
2019, so that makes sense to dried up 2020. So yeah, this is a figure from 2019, guys. So not that old, and you could see they were still kind of following that DX mindset with all these different accessories. Ghostbuster says this is one of the figures that makes me wish I was a Star Wars fan, and yeah, I mean. It's such a fantastic release. It comes with a lot of stuff. And if you're a fan of Darth Maul, I know some people like that kind of skinnier sculpt with that sideshow version. But I think this is still the ultimate Maul release just for the amount of stuff that he comes with. And that's kind of a testament to it being a DX release. You know what I mean? Costa 2019 as well. Thank you so much. Kumar says, as a figure, I feel the Solo Maul is the best, but in terms of emotional connection, DX16, 17 is the best for me. Yeah, I mean... I have no connection to the Solo Maul. I do want to pick that one up. I kind of regret passing on that one. But again, in terms of just the DX release, I think this one is a much stronger release in terms of what it comes with. Because again, like the shining accessory with the Solo Maul, granted, it couldn't come with a lot to begin with because you very briefly saw him in Solo, but it shouldn't have been a DX release, you know, in my opinion. It should have just been a normal release because all they included extra really was the stool. You know what I mean? But guys, I mean, before we move on or get too in depth with the DX17, is this something you see your guys picking up, see yourselves picking up today? Because again, this is a relatively new release, comes with a lot of stuff. You know, I already have it in my collection. Ryan said he has the DX16. Chris, Let me ask you, because I know you have the Sideshow Mall. Do you ever see yourself maybe going back and selling off that Sideshow Mall and upgrading to this one just for the sheer amount of stuff that he comes with?
I actually thought about it the other day. I saw one that was $100 more of what I could. So, like, if I sold that one, I would just pay $100 more just to get, the hot toy version. And I don't know. It's hard because I like the way it looks. I've seen it in yours. I think the speeder is where the money's at for me, at least. I've seen some people trying to sell that single. So literally, that's probably all I want, and the robe as well. So it's a maybe. I just really, really enjoy the Sideshow head sculpt. I think it's one of the better Star Wars Hot Toy sculpts that they've ever done, and really captured Ray Park's likeness in there. And like I've said, I'm one of those people like with the whole tattoos in the face. Like, it sounds stupid, but once you see it, it just kind of what I think. And I don't know how accurate this one is, the Hot Toys is, as far as like paint color. I just like the way the Sideshow one looks. Now, even if it's the inaccurate paint color, for some reason I just like the Sideshow one. It photographs well. When I look at it, it still makes me happy. So I'm not like pissed off when I see it. So there's no need for me to get rid of it and upgrade if I don't have to, and ultimately end up paying more.
You should check out Dean Knight's video. Dean Knight did a video like a month ago, I want to say, a month and a half ago, where he did an in-depth comparison of the Sideshow and Darth Maul, the Hot Toys and the Sideshow Darth Maul figures. And I believe it or not, his conclusion was the Sideshow was far more accurate overall than
That's what I've heard.
Even not even like the tattoos, but actually the shape of the actual face. The Hot Toys one, and it's funny because it's one of those things where if you have the Hot Toys you're looking at, it still looks amazing. It's not until you see a comparison, but how often are you gonna look at it? But when you see a comparison of the Sideshow next to was it Ray Parker, who was
Ray Park.
Believe it or not, the Hot Toys one's a little more, the face is a little more fuller than it should be compared to Sideshow. Like the Sideshow sculpt itself is more accurate to him, which is interesting. I mean, it is what it is. But like if you have the Hot Toys one, it looks outstanding. But Dean Knight is known for, and no criticism, he's known for going very in-depth on the details for his figures because he has a limited collection. So I know like what he gets, he wants like the best representation, and he opted for the Sideshow version, which I thought. So I mean, Chris, I mean, I'd check that video out if you're, I mean, it's a really good video.
Yeah, I mean, it's I think what it is like what the Hot Toys comes with versus the Sideshow. That's what a lot of people.
And I was gonna say that too. It would be an accessory thing, like the chrome paint apps on the lightsabers better than Sideshow version. I like the blade of these. I mean, granted, these actually look like they're lit and not clear, see-through, translucent almost. But you get, I think I got the communicator as well on the wrist.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a pick and choose, and whatever you decide to do is whatever makes you happy.
For sure. Eddie asks, how much is he going for now? To be honest with you, Eddie, these aren't actually like. The DX06 is a bit over retail, but honestly, truthfully, this DX17, or excuse me, I said DX06, DX16. The DX17 Maul sells for about retail right now on Facebook, at least. So, not a difficult figure to get your hands on in terms of secondary market pricing, and I do think it's well worth it, especially for the amount of stuff it comes with. I've got mine actually on the speeder, as if he's about to hop off. Kind of recreating that scene, so I think it's well worth it, especially if you want that speeder.
There's one on eBay right now for $485.
Yeah, and that's eBay. So I mean, if you go through Facebook, you guys, you can get it considerably cheaper.
Mm-hmm. I've seen
it. Jordan said, "I'm shocked, Mr. Mom." And yeah, Cigars bringing up, Dean Knight did a blood splatter custom for the Patrick Bateman and made the figure look even better. Yeah, that's my plan. I'm going to try to get a hold of an extra raincoat so I can put some, like, I'm actually going to go to the party store and get some of that blood so it looks like fresh, wet all the time. You know what I mean?
I actually was thinking about the other day, Connor. I might get another figure.
Yeah.
Or try to find a body.
I don't care for that screaming sculpt it comes with either.
I actually really like the screaming sculpt because again, if you're gonna have him hopping off the bike,
I just watched the movie.
He never really did that in that film, though.
Yeah, he did. Exact scene, exact moment he did it. There's one moment when he did it.
Yeah, I would.
Oh,
I
no,
have him
no.
hopping off the bike, so I have the screaming sculpt on. And also, I wanted
We're gonna
mine to
have
look
to
like
find
Sean
this.
when he's yelling at his dogs when they're barking during a stream. So that's why I have the screaming sculpt on mine.
Wait, are we talking about Darth Maul or are we talking about?
So wait, you have this weird obsession
Darth Maul.
with me.
Oh, I'm
Confused
talking about, I thought you were talking about Patrick Bateman.
do and what you do. So you put a specific head sculpt on a Darth Maul because of me.
Yeah, I just wanted to replicate you screaming at your dog, so I used the screaming sculpt.
I don't scream at my dogs.
They technically scream at him.
That's true. I mean,
I
I
just
don't blame
speak with
you, Sean.
authority to them. You know, they talk, they bark, and they're telling me to speak, and I comply.
All right.
Sean, before we move on, do you have the DX16 or the 17 in your collection?
I had both at one time, and I sold it. So there was a time where I got rid of a lot of my Star Wars stuff, and the next day it was kind of the, man, I really regret doing that stuff.
Yeah.
But I had both, and you know, it hasn't been this one has not been a priority for me to get back. Eventually I will, especially since now the prices have gone down.
Yeah, the prices have kind of subsided, you know, and it's like you don't have to rush to grab this one for any reason.
It's just like looking at it though, and it's good to know though that the Sideshow one had a better facial features on it. So I wasn't aware of that before. I've never heard that before.
Yeah.
So I learned something new today. But overall with this one, like with the Clone Wars Maul, I mean, that huge mistake from Hot Toys.
Oh yeah.
I never had issues where the arm was coming out with the DXs versus the CW, but I think where the DX line started to go down was with the DX16. We should never have had a DX16.
I agree with that.
We should have had this DX17, and they should have given us a second body. And we should have had a smaller 3x4 display stand for the second body. And then the display stand that's pictured here right now should have came with it too for the speeder.
Yeah, I mean,
we should have had both bodies and the speeder for DX16. And there shouldn't have been two different versions.
Yeah, I would have paid extra for that too. If we can get two bodies, I think it would have made a lot of sense. But yeah, again, for me, I feel like this is really the last true DX release. And then it really started to go downhill from there, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I think the DX16 is the point where so many people, like if you saw it on Sideshow, the DX16 sold out before the 17.
Yeah.
And I don't know how it was anywhere else in the world, but in the US, that's what it was like here.
You know, Sean, the funny thing about that is I think that was still at a time where people weren't quite ready to commit to vehicles because that was still really like the age of DTOFs at the time. Yeah. People were still very much DTOF collectors, and they were worried that it wasn't going to fit. And I will say this one does fit in a DTOF, but I think people had that mindset of, well, I have DTOF, so I'm going to stay away from the vehicles because I value my space. You know what I mean?
Well, so, it's not just that either. People were afraid to buy 2-packs.
And the pricing as well. Yeah, the pricing, that definitely comes into a factor as well.
Connor was never afraid.
But, you know, I think if people weren't afraid to buy 2-packs as much as they were producing, we would have more 2-packs now too.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think Hot Toys likes separating the figures so they can keep the prices down on individual figures. I totally get it. It's just unfortunate. You know, the obvious 2-packs, we don't end up getting them. KTH says a second body. What, cut in half body? Of course, that's exactly what we want, a cut in half body.
Yeah, and you just talked about...
You know what? You let your mind go wherever it goes when we talk.
Exactly. But guys, we're going to move on from the DX16, DX17. Now we're going to get to the last segment of the stream. That's going to be talking about where is the DX line today. Now, we're just going to take a look at a few... kind of. We're going to take a look briefly at some and this is going to be like an open discussion type thing. Guys in the chat, please share your thoughts. Ryan has it in his hand. I have this figure in my collection as well. We're talking about the Ahsoka Tano. Let me pull up the listing here. This is the Hot Toys DX20/DX21. Of course, we're looking at the DX21 in this video. The Ahsoka Tano from the Mandalorian, $285 for the DX20, $315 for the DX21. So keep those prices in mind as we're talking about this. But again, guys, this is kind of an open discussion with the chat. We looked at a lot of great DX figures from the past, right, in the beginning of this stream. Now we're looking at some modern stuff. These figures just recently started shipping within the past couple months. And this is what you see now from the DX line. Now, of course, the packaging is very familiar, but it doesn't quite, to me, seem as DX-like as the older releases, right? To me, the Grogu is irrelevant. I don't even count the Grogu. We've had Grogu so many times with every figure. We get Grogu this, Grogu that. Granted, yes, this one does have the swap-out hands, but they also did that with the Luke Skywalker as well. So again, they're kind of watering down a little bit of the special aspect to that Grogu because we've seen it multiple times now.
Hey, but this one does have articulated arms.
I've heard there's a lot of problems with this one too.
There are articulated arms, and yeah, we're gonna talk about that as well. But this one does have articulated arms. But generally speaking, guys, and again, this is just an open discussion. I don't think, and I love this diorama display base, but that is not enough to justify a DX release. She comes with a lantern that doesn't even light up, and it's a lantern.
Ahsoka never should have been a DX figure.
No, and I totally agree. This should have never been a DX release. She comes with a lantern that doesn't light up. She comes with the lightsabers that you can't swap out for a light up option. Yet, Ryan, we did see a special change to this figure for a seamless body figure, I should say, where they probably could have done a swap out light up arm. They probably could have made it work, but they didn't.
Hey, Lane just said, and I was gonna say it. That lamp comes with both, and it wasn't supposed, but everybody was saying they started posting photos. They had it.
Yeah, it wasn't originally pictured with that lamp either, that lantern. So that was another kind of weird decision from Hot Toys as well. Toybox says, ordered DX20 and Sideshow sent me both the 20 and the 21, so I count that as an amazing day. Hey, well, hey, dude, you got a true DX right there. 4 figures in total. I'm very jealous. Ghostbusters Plus Collector, thank you so much, dude. He says, smash that like button, subscribe to all these fine gentlemen. And guys, also check out Ghostbusters Plus Collector. And Trevor, the 1/6 shooter. What's up, Trevor? Trevor says, I think the Sideshow Maul had the better sculpt. Yeah, I think most people prefer that one, again, because of the etched-in tattoos and stuff. But I do like the Hot Toys sculpts overall on those, for sure. But yeah, that's the thing, guys. It's like you get a cardboard backdrop, you get a diorama display base, but how many figures have we received? Like the Boba Fett 2-pack. That was a normal release. That wasn't a DX release. That came with a diorama display base for both figures.
Batman and Superman.
Batman and Superman 2-pack. Came with a ton of stuff, not a DX release. So why... And Ryan, the Wonder Woman 84 you have in your hand, that's a female silicone-bodied figure, not a DX release. A very
now that's a figure I want.
Yeah, and that's a very inexpensive figure as well. So it's like, I don't know, guys. When I look at this one, I'm like, this is definitely a waste as a slot in the 2 slots.
Yeah, I gotta say the Ahsoka, and I'm telling people this, is that I love the figure, like the Ahsoka. I don't regret buying the figure. I'm glad I have it in the collection because I do. But unfortunately, when it comes to figures for me throughout the course of buying for Hot Toys for the year, I mean, I still say this. My number 1 L is the DeLorean. For what happened with the DeLorean. So far, my number 2 L is Ahsoka. Now, what I mean by that is, and I know, Connor, I told you this, and you're like, it's not an L for me. What I mean by that is, it doesn't make any sense when this figure was produced well before her. I know she had delays for 2 years, but the reality is, in order for her to be released, they still had to make it about a year or 2 before. So we're talking a 2019, a 2020 figure right here, that if you have this in hand, it is unexcusable as to why they didn't use this same technology on Ahsoka.
Right, the full silicone body.
This thing weighs like a brick because of the metal skeleton in it. Like the thing is heavy as hell. And the arms, the seamless on it, it's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. And the reason why the Ahsoka, I give it the L, is because it makes no sense to me why she was seamless, and she's gorgeous, seamless, like the arms, the shoulder, like everything looks great.
Mm-hmm.
But then why did they stop it? And it literally looks like they hacked it with a razor blade. Like it's not even like a clean cut on mine. And they put in a peg system that's stiff, that unless you looked at, and credit to who is it, Boston Collectors, I think it is Boston Collector. I watched his review, which is very detailed. He advised, and I did that when he first got the figure. The first thing he did was strip the Ahsoka arms off. He stripped them right off, and he started kind of like, he didn't lubricate them, but he started like bending the joints and loosening the joint up, the ratchet, because it's so incredibly stiff. Like this ratchet right now is so stiff. I've bent it a few times, but there is a verge. I can understand people snapping them off and breaking them because the ratchet is just so incredibly strong, and it's held in with a simple little peg. It doesn't make any sense why they did that. It doesn't. It mind boggles me. And that, for that reason of them doing that and making it a DX, is why it's an L for me. It is. Yeah. I'm sorry. There's nothing about this that makes it any special. No USB lightsabers at all, And the fact is, we can predict if they do an Ahsoka for season 2, she should get seamless all over. Doesn't make any sense not to, and she should have USB lightsabers. I mean, it's just that is what it is. And then it's like, and then watch, they won't make it a DX, and they'll charge less.
Yeah, I mean,
it makes no sense.
And and Penn brings up the lantern. It's like, yeah, that they kind of further made it obvious that there was no reason for a DX20 and a 21. It should have just been one release. Give us both of those display bases.
For real.
I think they should have given us both of them.
Yeah,
they should have given us both of them. It's foolish. Like, had they done this with both display bases, okay, maybe I could say that's closer to a DX release. But
and not for nothing, Connor, it's not exactly. They gave you a Grogu. Who cares?
Yeah,
a lantern
no one cares
that doesn't
about that. We've had it many
lantern,
times.
This lantern that doesn't light up. Who cares?
Right, it's not a lantern. It's a what the hell is that? Yeah.
And then on top of that, they give you I get it, a repurposed base, which is from Yoda, from was it Empire Strikes Back?
Right,
it's the Empire Strikes Back Yoda.
Basically the same thing. Yeah.
So that being said, a repurposed base, a cardboard backdrop, another Grogu, no lantern. Explain to me why it's a DX. The figure itself, aside from the arms, the figure is amazing. It was.
That's not the same base as Yoda, by the way.
It's pretty close to it.
It's close.
Very similar. Yeah, it's not exactly the same.
All right, I'll rephrase. They probably used that as a mold and probably added something or mold. It's not an original base. Can I say that?
It's not original. It's basically like they took it from the parts bin and changed.
Exactly. So it's not like they put it this way. Not a lot of thought was put into it. And yes,
I mean, that's fair to say.
Who's that? Keith W or KTHW? Yes, this is the '84 Wonder Woman.
But see, I'm curious if Star Wars or Lucasfilms or whatever said, okay, you need to give us so many DX this year, and Hot Toys was forced to do it.
It's possible.
Could be.
I mean,
what you're saying here is should have got the Clone Wars.
What's up, Jordan?
Yeah. I mean, like, if you really think about it.
Thank you, Sean.
You for what?
You gave
for
me
being you, Sean. Thank you for
you're
being
welcome.
you, Sean.
Oh yeah, if you think about it, right? Okay, look at the ARF Trooper with the ATRT. Okay, it's only $145. If subtract or add $145, you get an extra figure, right?
Mm-hmm.
What if they added $55 to it, and they gave us a head sculpt for a clone with a flat top that you could remove, and it had a purge system for the eyes?
Mm-hmm.
That to me would be a DX.
Yeah.
And I mean, I really like this figure. I have both of them. I got both.
Yeah.
And I'm really happy with both of them. I'm afraid to move the arms, but I've been lucky. And
I am too, dude. I am too.
People have. And so I figured, I found a way to make it work. I really like that water base.
I do too.
With the effect, especially with how my display is white and the light comes through, it really brings out the color on it.
The color in her eyes, yeah.
And the tailoring is great on this.
And That's kind of that's a good point, Sean, because I felt the same way. Like it feels great in the hand, and guys, we're not crapping on the figure because I love this figure, but it shouldn't be a DX, and that's where we're getting.
There should be more. I mean, the figure alone has the characteristics of being
right. It feels
DX
deluxe
because
Right?
and the clothing alone, how much work was done into this?
Like not for nothing, because I got these two figures so close together. This felt more. I mean, it was a DX, but if I had to choose between DXs, this Luke was better.
Yeah.
But even then, with this Luke, goes back to what Sean said. There shouldn't have been four versions of this figure. There shouldn't have been. Should have done one version and called it a day. Like there shouldn't have been 4 specials, one with the hologram, one without the droid, whatever. It should have been, in my opinion, I'm sorry, there should have been one version of Luke and called it a day, and go all out.
Yeah.
So that's the only criticism I have. Otherwise, this is a fantastic figure. If I had to choose, I think this was more of a DX than Ahsoka was. But the only thing I'll say about this Luke is that you didn't need 4 versions of it on Sideshow. You could have done with 1, maybe 2 the most. That's it.
Yeah, and real quick to go off of Wayne's point, he says DX is supposed to mean extra detailed, not extra accessories, according to them. And again, we're as collectors, we're basing our opinion on the DX line based off of the precedent that was set by Hot Toys. They set this precedent with the line. They gave us all these accessories. They went the extra mile. The other thing to mention, guys, is the PERS system, which was exclusive to the DX line, is not, it's not a bad thing, right? But it's standard to every figure now.
But that, and then to credit to that was saying extra detail. This sculpt looks great. What's funny now, if you really analyze it, the sculpt actually isn't that great because it doesn't actually really look like Rosario Dawson. Like it looks like her really good. It's not a dead ringer for her likeness, by the way. If we want to be tit for tat, but like you can argue if you want to talk about extra detail, you could argue that Anakin from Clone Wars is better then.
Yeah.
Because that has USB lightsabers, PERS, cheaper, and that sculpt is easily, what is that, Connor? What would you give that sculpt?
App
A
is
9?
pretty good too.
Yeah.
A 9.5 out of 10. I mean, that sculpt is unbelievable. You throw him a couple extra accessories, you can make him a DX at this point.
I agree. And Revenge of the Sith, I agree with you. This figure, and like someone mentioned the Clone Wars Ahsoka, I don't think this blows the Clone Wars Ahsoka out of the water. I think those are both fantastic representations of the figure, and the other one's not a DX,
Like if I put these two next to each other, does Ahsoka really have any less detail that represents her character than Wonder Woman?
Right, exactly. I mean,
they're like equal. I mean, I wouldn't say that. I mean, my camera's blurry because I'm out of focus, but they equally represent their characters the same way. So therefore, detail-wise, the Ahsoka has the same amount of detail that represents her, just like the Wonder Woman does. And this was $254. Granted, it was like
really dropped the ball to have those light up. Probably would have been so cool.
Yeah, it would have been such a huge.
I know. I'm actually. I have someone making me white CFFLs for her.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm gonna have them lit up. So, but I have to. It's almost an injustice to have those white lightsabers because they're so unique and not have them turned on. I'm like, I don't get that. So I ordered some CFFLs for her. So
that'll be awesome.
CCFLs, is that what it is?
CFL. I think it's CFL. CCFL.
Something's doubled. It's either
I own one and I've never used it. It just came with one of my figures. But Toy Box makes a great point here too, guys. The 1973 Wolverine Deluxe felt more like a DX than this does. I mean, it comes with all the multiple looks. It comes with the swap out forearms. It's got that diorama display base like that certainly is more of a deluxe than
you can go on Sideshow right now and probably pick out 5 figures that are currently on pre-order that aren't deluxe and say that could be a deluxe. You could probably argue and say an Iron Man figure could be a deluxe if you added a little something extra to it for all, you know what I mean? It's like, dude, why couldn't the Iron Man Mark 6 be a deluxe with the gantry? Why couldn't that be a deluxe?
Yeah. And Ryan, you gave us some foreshadowing.
Oh, I didn't even know you were talking about this, man. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's some foreshadowing, but another recent DX figure, guys, or I should say 2 versions, because there's a DX22 and a DX23. $285 retail for the 22, $330 for the 23. And I do have this in my collection as well. And I would agree with Ryan. This one does feel a bit more like a DX, and I think that's very much due to the DX23 having that destroyed Dark Trooper. The Dark Trooper being added definitely makes a huge difference for me. Do I still think this release is lacking for a DX? I do. Real quick, though, guys, I didn't know if you know this, and Oilers, thank you so much for dropping the facts, man. If you guys didn't know, Ahsoka's Leku has intrinsic monetary value, kind of like Bitcoin. So it's the future of headwear, according to Jordan, and they're charging you for your unrealized Leku gains. So just keep that in mind, guys, when you're buying these Ahsoka figures. That's some serious money to be had right there. Thank you for dropping that knowledge to us, Jordan. And yeah, Toy Box, that's the other thing, a real leather jacket. And again, hold that thought. We're almost there to talk about that portion of the stream. But again, guys, even they kind of changed up the DX boxes a little bit here, because with the DX packaging, we're used to seeing that a special little something kind of embedded in this this cover flap here. We saw it with the DX17 in that video. We saw that it had that little engraved metal plate. We saw with the Indiana Jones, it had the map. The Jack Sparrow, we saw the one that came with. Even the DX13 had that torn up cloth. So there's been a lot of cool little presentation pieces, and even that has kind of gone to the wayside with these new DX releases, which is very unfortunate because, again, we mentioned this earlier. It's all kind of going full circle in our conversation. The packaging was part of the experience of a DX figure. So, yes, we still get this really cool packaging, but even that's been dumbed down a little bit, in my opinion. But again, I think maybe most of us on this panel, apart from you, Chris, have the Mando Luke in our collection, so we could definitely speak on this one.
Because Return of the Jedi, baby.
For sure. Euler said he's here all week. Knee slapper. There you go. Ash says, who wants a figure following you around? Creepy. Hey, man, as long as the figure is nice, man, it could follow me around all at once.
Once you have dogs, you get used to it.
There you go. That's a good point, Sean. Pablo says, I think it's idiotic to have a deluxe. Yeah, I agree. And Sean kind of hammered that home for me when he was like, why have two? Why not just make it all one big release? And I totally agree with that, because that's how they did it. That's how they used to do it. It was just one DX release. Now them doing multiple SKUs is definitely odd. Because the DX line to me should be the premium line. Now, guys, if this photo right here doesn't tell you that there's something going on with the DX line, I don't know what is, because we've taken a look at many stills throughout this stream of accessories included, right? And look what this one comes with. Again, the Grogu, nothing special. That's we've seen a Grogu with so many. I know it has the articulated arms, but that came with Ahsoka. So this is not a new accessory. It's the same exact Grogu that came with the Ahsoka. Let's take out the Dark Trooper and say you got the DX22. So if we take this Dark Trooper out, this is all you get, guys. You get items that come with the character anyway because it's intrinsic to the design of the character. You get a lightsaber arm. That's standard with normal releases. Cardboard backdrop. That's standard with a lot of releases. They randomly decide they want to include those. Hell, the armor came with a cardboard backdrop, and she was, what, $260? So I think if you get the DX23, it does feel more like a DX because of that Dark Trooper. But guys, even this one is very much lacking. It very much is. And I get it. This specific version of this character in this scene, you really couldn't include much with them. But if that's the case, don't make it a DX. This could have been a normal deluxe release, a standard and a deluxe release. It did not have to have the DX name. Nothing was added to it by having the DX name. Because again, guys, PERS is standard now on all of these figures. I mean, every once in a while, they'll pass up a figure like Mace Windu didn't get the PERS system. But for the most part, most of these figures have the PERS system. So there's nothing special about this to make it a DX release, in my opinion. There really isn't. When I look at this, I'm like, this is just a standard deluxe release. And I love that example about the Wolverine, because I think that one is more so a DX than a lot of these new ones that we're talking about. Wayne says, I heard they changed the PERS because the joystick system would break, which is why they changed to what we have now. And yes, that is part of the reason. And a lot of people have had it break on them. It is a simpler way to access it. But also, I do think the benefit of the new PERS system is they can kind of make it so the head sculpt doesn't have a seam in the back, because you can access it from underneath. So I do think that's a benefit of the new PERS system for sure. But guys, what are your thoughts on this one, man? And Ryan, you have this in hand. Sean, I believe you have this in hand. What are your thoughts on this as a DX release? Are you kind of in the same mindset as me, or is like this one's pretty weak for a DX as well?
It did. I mean, as I told you, they only needed to make one figure, but when you summed it up like all that, it still did not need to be a DX. It never needed
Yeah.
to be one. I mean, they could have just made this a regular grand. I mean, it just, I don't know. It just, when you look at the value of what you're getting for it, I mean, like I said, I know there's a lot of goodies and stuff like that, but I just don't think for it to be labeled a DX. I don't know. I'm having a hard time with it. I mean, it's a great figure. I love it. I'm glad I have it, but for it to be a DX, it's lackluster.
Yeah, but it does come with a hologram.
Oh yeah,
right?
let me jump right on that.
Real quick, Max says, can't watch live tonight, but I will catch the rerun after the overnight shift. Hey, dude, have a great shift. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I hope you enjoy the rerun because I think it's a very informative and good conversation to have, so I hope you enjoy it. But Sean, before we move on, and guys, I will say the next figure, which is our final new figure that we're going to take a look at, I think will be a bit of a relief. So I wanted to get these two out of the way. But Sean, what are your thoughts after seeing this one? And kind of, I believe you do have this one in hand, right?
I have it, but I haven't opened it yet.
Oh, you haven't opened it yet. But even so, seeing it here, do you think this deserves that DX name?
Yes and no. In a way, but I'm more towards no.
Yeah.
You know, it would just be a deluxe.
Just realized.
Not a DX. You know, do a regular Luke instead of a DX Luke, and then do the deluxe with the Dark Trooper bust.
Yeah.
But not a DX.
Yeah, I'm kind of, and again, Sean, it's what puts it in the best light to me is when you talk about just purchasing the normal DX22 without the Dark Trooper. That even devalues it even more. You know, I mean, to me, it's almost like not even worth it to call it a DX at that point, especially considering you're removing the Dark Trooper from the equation. You don't get much there. It's like the cardboard backdrop. Does that make it a DX figure? Certainly not, right? It's totally bizarre to me with this one. It really is. Again, it's a great figure. Guys, I don't want to take anything away from these figures because I have both of the figures that we've talked about in terms of these newer releases. They're great. I'm puzzled by what's going on with this DX line. Why are these DXs and why is Wolverine? Again, I really love that example. Why is Wolverine not a DX?
Well, I mean, if you look at it too, the back, Princess Leia from A New Hope came with a backdrop.
Yeah, similar to this one, a similar style.
Yeah, you know, it's just for the part where she's, you know, we're seeing her in R2D2. I don't remember what that room's called, but, you know, and she's putting the card in R2D2.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's a backdrop for that. And that's nowhere considered a DX. And no, it's not the DX that it should be.
Yeah. Go ahead, Chris.
I was just going to say, did you notice that lightsaber? I just saw it when he was closing up on. Now, I don't know if it's accurate to the show, but if we're going based off Return of the Jedi and Luke Skywalker's lightsaber, that should not be a D-ring. It's like a triangle D-ring. It's here on the prop replica. It's a triangle. And on the Hot Toys, I looked. It's a triangle. And on the sideshow, it's a triangle as well.
Yeah, I don't know if he had a. I'm sure they made some changes to the saber. I don't know if he had a normal D-ring. I gotta be honest with you. I don't know if he had a normal.
But
D-ring
on this one, this DX here in the video, it just showed a D-ring.
Yeah, you know, I don't know if that's accurate or not. I guess that's the best way I should say it. But that's a good point.
They're slipping, bro. If we're looking for extra detail.
It could be accurate. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if they changed the prop up, but I honestly don't know. I have no idea. I like this idea from 160's Nuts. What's up, by the way, 16? He says, it should have come with the door diorama behind him. That would have made it a nice DX. And I agree. That would have been really cool. Something that's not cardboard. Something that you can actually maybe slide the door back and forth on. Something like that would have been really cool. Yeah, and Trevor, yeah, that's certainly the case now. It's certainly just the foam now. I mean, that's what we're seeing. It's the packaging. It's the packaging that makes it a DX. That's all it is, and it's a bit unfortunate. Apifly says, "Oh no, not the D-ring. I'm returning it ASAP." What's up, Yomo? Yomo was
You should,
one of our
bro.
giveaway winners as well. What's up, Yomo? I hope you're doing well, dude. He says JK. All right, guys, but this final one, we're going to move on. This final one, guys, I think is going to give us a bit of relief because I do think, I got to be honest with you, I do think this one in its entirety, if you get the full deluxe version, is certainly what we hope to see moving forward and maybe a little bit more, but I think this is what
you were
we
going
hope
to do Black
see.
Adam.
No, I'm not going to do Black Adam because, Sean, I personally think this is the best recent DX that we've seen from Hot Toys. I really do. I mean, so much so that I grabbed 2 of these because it provides you with the option to go with both looks, right? Now, with this one, it was interesting because you have to get the DX in order to get both looks, the deluxe DX to get both looks. We do have a DX27 and a DX28. The DX27 is $295, whereas the deluxe version that we're taking a look at now is $330. But for me, guys, I think this is the first DX in a while where I'm like, okay, I can get behind this one. I want to go to the photo.
Are you just being biased because it's Vader, though?
I'm not, though.
Because I would feel that way, too.
I'm not, though, Chris, because I do think it comes with
I'm feeling a
enough
little bit of that, actually.
where I could justify. You guys stop busting my balls.
I
think this one does. It's so funny. Ghostbusters Plus says, "I'm out, guys. This stream sucks." Kidding. I have to get some shut eye. Great stream as always, night fellas. Thank you so much, Ghostbusters.
This is honest.
We appreciate your honesty, dude. But no, I know you're just messing with us. Guys, check out.
I'm going to go volunteer at work.
Even when
Right.
it sucks, it's still supporting. That's a true.
Right,
True
true fan at heart, right? But guys, check out Ghostbusters Plus Collector. He does great stuff over there. Check out his channel. Yes, exactly. Must have all Vaders. But for real, though, guys, for real.
No, I agree. Everything it comes with.
Right, he comes with a lot of stuff. You get 2 different looks if you go for the deluxe. For $330, I don't think this is a bad value. I do think if they gave us, and TK is kind of taking the words out of my mouth, an extra body would have been the cherry on top. And I did say that when this was first announced, that an extra body would have been like the perfect scenario. But come on now, we get the battle damage cracked helmet, which you get with the base version. I believe the base version, you get the cracked helmet. This is the only one that you get the clean helmet and the clean chest box. So you get a cracked helmet, you get the clean helmet, you get an LED light up base with the deluxe, you get the interchangeable chest panel, you get Reva's lightsabers, you get Vader's lightsaber, USB lightsaber, you get this diorama display base. I think the cape is reversible.
And a little hologram. Yeah, the cape is reversible.
I think the cape is reversible, so I think that's a clever way for them to include both looks while also saving them a little bit money. I got to give it to them. That's clever. But I do think, guys, out of all the recent stuff, this is really the closest to a true DX release. And sure, it's Vader, so a lot of people are like, yeah, this is coming
This is
home.
my most anticipated pre-order.
It's high up on my list, man. This is a very special figure. TX Boy said people have been waiting years for this. Yeah, for a cracked helmet Vader, if you're a fan of Rebels, is a very special one. And yes, Wayne, I would agree. This is a very incredible figure. It looks fantastic. I have all of the other 6-scale Vaders in my collection, so I have full faith that this is going to deliver. Comes with a lot of hands. Comes with multiple lightsabers, both his and Reva's, to kind of replicate that fight that they had towards the end of the show.
Better not cheap on that box either.
I know that's the only thing. I'm hoping that they bring back like that little special.
I want to
piece.
see some nostalgia of Obi-Wan and
something, dude. Right?
If
they bring back that little like piece that they put on that little cover on the inside, I think that would make me very happy. But I don't know. What are your thoughts, guys? I mean, maybe I'm a little biased because it's Vader, but I do truly think that this is as long as you go with the deluxe. I'm speaking truly about the deluxe DX because they love doing the 2 SKUs now for the DX figures. But I think if we're talking about the deluxe version, I think this is a true, at least as close as we can get to a true DX in today's DX world.
I thought it was going to be more too. So I mean, I think it's
I mean for $330, I don't
get.
think it's bad. I really don't.
Right.
But Ryan or Sean, feel free to jump in. Like a great example, by the way, Chris. $300 for Cobb Vanth, and then you get this for $330. Like.
I think the pricing is good for like what you just gave the example of, but it looks incredible. But I still don't know if it's worthy of being a DX, to be honest with you, because the base is cool, the features, but it's like I mean, we've had the RoboCop battle damage now. Like, I mean, that you have the swappable chest plates to give the battle damage and non-battle damage. You know what I mean? He has the gun, he has the jetpack, so you can technically make two different looks with him if you wanted to. I'm not justifying it, but I'm just trying to justify the label of a DX. I don't know if it's there with this one. I think it's close, but I don't know. The hologram, I don't care for it.
Yeah,
If
so
we're
the
going by the
hologram
trend,
definitely doesn't mean anything.
yeah, if we're going by the trend now, because USB lightsaber, because this lightsaber is USB, correct?
Yes.
It is USB,
Yes.
and this isn't the first one because Obi-Wan came out with a USB lightsaber, so it's like this isn't the like the originator of it. The diorama base isn't anything special. It comes with another base. It's hard, because I am trying not to fanboy over it because I have it on pre-order. I love this one. I think it's an incredible product. It is one of the probably. I hear a lot of people saying like have the same feeling as Chris. Like this is like, if not the maybe top 3 most anticipated figures of the year, probably for
certainly,
people.
certainly.
If it's not number 1, it's got to be 3 or 5. It's got to be in
If
the
you're a
top
Star
5.
Wars fan,
Hey,
yeah. I mean, this is
let me
special.
ask you.
I just don't
this,
know.
Ryan.
Yeah.
So, you get Luke Skywalker. Regardless, yes, it comes with like the second body for the DX07. But like if you're talking about the antenna, yeah, it's not an antenna here, but you do get another base. The lightsaber was standard with DX07, so was every other Star Wars release after that. This one just happens to have Reva's lightsabers as an add-on. So like I kind of do count that as well. And then the swap out battle damage stuff. It's not a second body, but they still kind of give you the option. So it's like yes and no.
Right, and there's a reason I say this one for last, right? Because we looked at Luke, we looked at Ahsoka. Even if you're like, this isn't quite what I expected.
Put it this way,
DX,
if this was
is
the
closest,
if,
right?
if this
out
is
of
the
what we looked
modern,
at.
put it this way, this one would have been probably the true DX, and honestly, I probably would have paid more money for it if this is like the updated version of the DX07, where they literally gave you almost everything except just giving you another Vader body to make another clean Vader.
Yeah.
Like if you had 2 Vaders, you had the clean one and you had the battle damaged one. Like they're so close to doing that. You know what I mean? Where like even if they charged you more money and it's like an updated version, like it's almost like a newer version of the DX07 where like you got the 2 complete figures and all that stuff. This one I felt like was so close to doing that. I guess it's just hard because it's like it's one of those figures where it's forcing you, if you want, like if you don't have a Vader, you kind of need to buy 2 of them because you get one with the battle damaged and one with the clean.
Yeah, that's why I got 2.
So so like how much is the max? Like 350 or 330? Is that the max one?
330.
330.
330? Dude, even if you charged 400 and had 2 in one, like make it a 2-pack with 400 and like made
It's
that
still
like,
around the DX07.
what's that?
It's still around the DX07 like secondary market.
Yeah. I mean, that would have been, I agree. Someone said in the chat that would have been like the cherry on top as an extra body, you know?
Because it sucks. Because it's just like the 40th anniversary version. I don't remember. I like I see pre-order stuff and you don't look at them. I have to look at what the 40th anniversary came with. But just like for this version, it's a weird one for people. I mean, Hot Toys has them by the
2 of these cheaper than in our Joker.
That is very true, my friend. Very true. In our Joker Harry Potter. Another stream, another day. Anyway,
dab on them.
But no, you know what I mean though? It's like one of those where it's a precarious situation for a collector because especially if you're someone who doesn't have a Darth Vader. Like I have the Empire 40th anniversary. So like I got the regular version because I'm just going to display him battle damaged. I have a clean version of Vader, but if you're someone who doesn't have any Vader, you may want to consider getting 2 of them. This was before the 40th came out, obviously, but like someone may have pre-ordered 2 of them because they want a clean and they want.
It's the Inquisitors for me, dude. Like I want a clean one to go with those Inquisitors.
I just kind of feel a little. I just feel like if they would have pushed it a little more, like they were so close to just if they gave you another body and there was like 2 Vaders for the price of and like jacked it up a little bit more. I'm like, dude, that's a damn good DX right there. I mean, it is what, like you said. I feel like there is more to this than Ahsoka. Like if it was this compared to Ahsoka, yeah, it's this hands down.
Right, you're getting a lot more for your money
compared to what they've done recently.
I would argue and say like I'd have to look at this and Luke again and almost see.
Yeah.
Yeah, Peyton. Yeah, that's a good one. The Batman and back signal would be a good deluxe.
That could have been a DX, and that also
Yeah.
that
You
one's
threw the, yo, imagine they threw the bike in and they made that a deluxe, like charge 600, give you the bike, the Batman, and the signal, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would have been like the ultimate deluxe that like for a long time.
Yeah,
Right.
for sure.
Yeah.
By the way, guys, what's up to Thick Bantha Boy and Daniel? Sean, maybe we can, as you're starting to share your thoughts on this, we can answer this question as well. What's up, by the way, Daniel? Daniel asks, he says, just hopped in. What features do you consider essential for a DX figure that aren't normally included with modern figures?
They've kind of ruined it.
I can't answer that
I mean,
question.
that's right.
Yeah,
That's kind of
What
what we
was
talked
they
about.
do now?
Yeah. I would have said for a DX, if you're talking Star Wars, a Star Wars DX figure, it would have to be the PER system, which is
Yeah.
big deal.
What it was. Yeah.
USB lightsabers, no big deal. A very intricate, detailed base, something that's not normal with other figures, which isn't really true anymore. And then appropriate accessories that go with that figure. And I'm talking like all accessories, like not something like, oh, you could like everything gets covered. That to me is like a DX compared to the regular and the packaging, but it's so saturated that I can't say that anymore because everything comes with it.
Yeah, and I do like that kind of segues us into our final question of the night, and this is going to end our stream out. And Sean, I want to hear your thoughts on the Darth Vader, and then you can start us off with answering this question. And the question is, can the DX line be saved? Can it be brought back to close, at least close, or maybe even on the same level as its original glory? That we went down memory lane at the beginning of the stream. We took a look at all the different DX figures, and we took a look at some of the more sought after DX figures. And there's many other ones that we didn't talk about that are very much sought after. But can this line be saved, and what will we change? What would we like to add to this line? What do we think should be standard with this line to kind of differentiate it from the regular deluxe figures? I mean, we've said it many times though. This, like, we were like, oh, the Wolverine deluxe could have been a DX release. So, Sean, feel free to share your thoughts on this Vader, because I know you didn't get a chance to. But also, please answer this question. Like, what do you think should be standard to the DX line that Hot Toys could maybe go back to the drawing board and say, hey, let's bring this line back to its original glory?
All right. One, I don't think this is worthy of DX. And I'm not getting it. So, yes, breathe, Chris. The show sucked and kind of ruined it. I was really anticipating a great Kenobi story, and we got that. That's all I'm going to say. It just sucked. That's it. Horrible writing. It looked like so many scenes were pushed. You know, from someone serving in the military, if I saw someone with a trench coat with some little feet walking by, I don't care how much damage I would have done to that little kid, I would have rushed that person immediately. That's just me. That's my way of thinking. It was so stupid on so many levels. However, Reva's head sculpt looks fantastic, and Hot Toys got a win on that one.
Yeah.
Now, moving into, can the DX line be saved? Part of me thinks that they should just abandon it, and another part of me thinks that they should start something else. Close out the DX line, call it something else, and start making what they did with Jack Sparrow, DX07, Star Wars, what they did with the Jokers, all of that stuff, and start over again. But with it being saved, you know, what was the other part of that question?
What would we change? Like, what? And that kind of segues from the question that was asked in the chat. Like, what things could we see being thrown in to the DX line that would kind of make sense, you know, because we know the PER system is standard really on most figures now. So what other things could be standard in the DX line that would make it make sense for them to do the DX line moving forward?
Higher detail, and not just the clothing or the material of what's being on the figure, but the specific accessories to go through it.
Yeah.
You know, like, you know, we saw a shark with the black pearl in a bottle. You know, things like that have a lot of meaning, especially for collectors that want that unique item. And I'm sure there might be some collectors out there that only collect the DX line.
Yeah.
And they're not,
I'm sure.
you know, specific to a specific license. They just want the DX and that's it. There's other, I mean, everyone collects differently. I collect different than the rest of you, and you correct. Sorry, I can't talk. You collect differently than I do.
Yeah.
But, you know, at the end of the day, it's whatever whoever is buying wants to do. But what would I change? Just go back to how it was. If Howard wants to keep it, go back to what you used to do. No more, you know, DX 16, 17 for the same figure. Just make it one. If you want to do two different ones, make that one a 2-pack. And if you're not going to make it a 2-pack, then give us tons of parts.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at. You know, it's not that hard to do. They could have gotten a win, just like the example I gave with the ARF Trooper and ATRT. Give us a clone
Right. Yeah.
with the purge system and eyes. You know, for the head sculpt, make it a flat top so that hair comes off very easily and it goes back on to Morrison's completely overused face sculpt at this time, which is fine. And go with it.
Right.
You know, that to me, that is what will change. But watch, and now they're going to announce something and it's going to look weird or whatever, but that's where I'm at. It's, you know, collectors have changed, but Hot Toys has changed too. And unfortunately, we have to realize that.
Certainly. No, well said, Sean. And for me, guys, what I would like to see is, and I do agree with Sean, I think the DX line is an opportunity for Hot Toys to really dig deeper with accessories, right? And with that being said, they should choose figures that gives them that opportunity. And I think that's where they're kind of doing the wrong things right now. Like the Ahsoka, the Luke Skywalker, there wasn't much opportunity for additional accessories. And to Hot Toys' credit, that's just the truth. Now, with that being said, I think they should be more selective with what they make a DX and how often they do a DX moving forward. The other thing is, like, if we're talking about, everybody's talking about the finer details and such on the figures. Okay, so if we're going to do that, let's be consistent in the DX line. Always give us USB power. Always give us real leather if leather or pleather is involved in the figure. Upgrade the materials. Give us better materials. Hell, I mean, what's to say that Hot Toys couldn't revamp the DX line? And, you know, I'm not a big fan of rooted hair, but for those that are, maybe Hot Toys can do their own, like, kind of higher quality DX line with rooted hair, you know? Maybe that would appeal to some people. And maybe not their rooted hair quality, which has been garbage over the years, but, like, stepping it up, dedicating a team to a DX line, a DX team that handles these higher quality. Because clearly, InArt has proven that there's a market for that, so maybe Hot Toys can kind of revamp their DX line and in a way that they can do rooted hair and real leather and just the highest quality of materials that they could possibly give us.
I agree with that.
Yeah, and I know, Chris, that they've been, like, trickling in real leather. Like we saw Crosshair, out of all figures, Crosshair has real leather. The Wolverine has a real leather jacket, and I'd love to see that be more consistent, but if anything, make it consistent to one line if you can't do it in the main line all the time, you know? Only choose figures and curate figures that you can implement those special materials. And I think a lot of people would be cool with that. I really do. I'd rather have that than them just to say, screw it, we're done with the DX line because people don't like what we're putting out in terms of a DX quality figure. I'd much rather have them go in and just go back to the drawing board and again dedicate a whole team to the DX line. Maybe they already have one, but maybe that team needs to, you know, step it up and go back to the drawing board. I don't know about their inner workings, but me personally, that's what I would like to see. I think that would be a very smart move on their part. It would give them the opportunity to charge a bit more, but offer kind of that higher level of accuracy that oftentimes, obviously, they don't hit 100% all the time with accuracy. That's just how it is with the price point. They do the best that they can, and they do great. They do great work, but imagine if they had I mean, every company, guys, every company has a premium line and they have a standard line. So just uphold those standards for that premium DX line. That's all I'm asking for. But that's my thought personally. Chris, I know you kind of agree with some of the stuff I was saying. I don't know if you had anything to add on to that.
No, dude, that was pretty well said. Pretty perfect.
Oh, thank you so much. But
the only thing, I mean, one thing is like the box. I know it sounds stupid, but it does separate the line or whatever, and I do like the foam packaging. It would be cool if they did it for all, but you know,
yeah,
anything to separate the line. So when you look at it, you know it's DX.
Exactly. But finally, Ryan, what can the DX line be saved, and what would you change, and what would you wanted to see in a DX figure moving forward? If you could kind of say, hey, I'm the leader of this team now. This is what I want done. What would you do?
It would be hard to do it in a certain way without sacrificing where they're going now with current figures. As I said, you know, normally DX, if we weren't getting USB with everything, PERS, I'd say, yeah, add that stuff. But, you know, if you do that, you're sacrificing the standard, you know, like your Anakin from Attack of the Clones. It wouldn't get any of that stuff. You know, it would just be a standard release. I think that they really do. And I don't agree with what I'm going to say, so I don't even know why I want to say it. I personally, because what I mean is the side of me is two ways, where it's like dedicate the premium materials, like use leather, do rooted hair, like you said, do that premium stuff for the DX. But a side of me almost is like, I'd rather them just get rid of DX altogether and just spread that wealth out against all the figures. Because I'm not going to lose sleep over it, to be honest with you. I guess because the last few releases have been kind of duds. I'm not going to lose sleep over it if they said, hey, tomorrow we're getting rid of the DX line. Now just every figure is going to get beefed up a little bit where we can, you know, and I'd be like, okay, is what it is. Like, I wouldn't really be upset about it just because the last few have been lackluster. So therefore, unfortunately, I know for a lot of times, you know, it's kind of like the last few kind of taint the rest of the line, where it's like you're not thinking about the DX07, the DX09. You're thinking about the last few of them. You know what I mean? Like, oh, the Ahsoka was you know, Luke Skywalker was the Darth Maul was That kind of you kind of look at the last few bad ones. Typically, that kind of ruins the whole line. So it's just, I don't know. I'm kind of torn because they're obviously going in a way that they've naturally diluted the DX line themselves. So it's kind of like it's hard to now go back and say we're going to make a dedicated. What would you do differently? I mean, you know, I know. Yeah, it's funny. I don't agree with what I'm saying, but I'm going to say it. Well, because I'm trying to give you an answer of how I could.
No, I get what you're saying.
I'm trying to give you an answer of how I could save the DX line, but my heart's really telling me I would just scrap it altogether.
That's what I was going to say.
Because of the path that they're going on. They're already going on a path where they're giving you premium products. The only thing, here's where it would be different. Like, use leather for everything that you could use.
Well, that's
leather.
what I'm saying. Be absolutely consistent with the DX line. I know they're
I'm not saying that for the DX line, though. Scrap the DX line and just use leather where you could for everything that requires leather. Like Darth Vader here. Make them leather. Like the whole outfit leather. Make it how it should be. Like, if that thing was leather as is and that wasn't that pleathery kind of material, I'd be like, yo, baby, that's a DX all day. All full leather, ain't gonna go, no pleathering, no rips, no tears. It's awesome. Like, that's the kind of stuff, you know. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Like, if they inconsistent use of technology, like, why does Wolverine have a leather jacket and they haven't done a Darth Vader that's full leather? Because that would hold up over the course of time. You know, we were talking to Owen this morning. He pulled out numerous photos of figures that deteriorated within 2 to 3 years.
And we saw and again, remember I said, like, remember the DX05 we saw being unboxed in Justin's video that was falling apart brand new.
Exactly. I think the collecting community would appreciate that more if all of the materials where we expect there to be. How many times we look at a review of a figure or a brand new release, we're like, is that leather? Is that pleather? I can't really tell. If like everything you saw was guaranteed leather, guarantee the
I mean,
boots.
even third parties doing it, Ryan.
Exactly.
Third parties doing it. Present Toys has been very consistent with real leather on everything that requires leather, and it's like,
and it's
they
not
can do
like
it, Hot Toys can.
it's not like out of how many MMSs. I know I'm ranting on a minute. I'll stop. Out of like how many MMSs, like 700 plus. Well, you know what I mean, Oilers, in the sense. I'm just trying to think of something where it's like he's trying to say you can't make everything because it'd be like $1,000. I mean,
Yeah, the Vader suit, yeah,
the Vader was maybe
that'd be a big
unrealistic, but something that's like a
sure.
jacket. You know, I know we're really honestly we're nitpicking at this point. We're nitpicking what other people are saying and nitpicking what I'm saying. I'm just saying at the end of the day, if you want my final thought, I think you scrap the DX line. It's only been 20 figures or so out of 700 plus that they've made. It's not like the DX line has had 200 figures where there's a lineage. They've only done 20 of them. So it's not like there's this big history of like, wow, you know, they're going to scrap. It's like they're going to scrap the MMS line and they're going to do something else. Like, holy crap, that's ridiculous. Right. Why would they ever do that? They've only made 20 of them out of, 700 plus. So in my opinion, I would just get rid of the DX line and just focus in on the figures that they're doing and just beef them up a little more where they can. And call it a day.
Well said. Well said, dude. And guys, that's going to conclude our thoughts. Now, of course, I didn't forget about the poll. So let's see the results of the poll, guys. It looks like 59% said keep the DX line or stay. The line should stay, or 41% said it should go. So, I mean, a good amount of people said it should stay, but I mean, that's no slouch of a percentage of people saying, hey, I think we should get rid of it. So that definitely shows that the community is divided on what they should do with this line, and I totally understand why. I mean, again, I hope at the very least, guys, you learn that the DX line has certainly changed quite a bit from its original standing as a line, and I think there's a lot of room for improvement right now. And I think a lot of the stuff that some of us said could be implemented. It's just Hot Toys has to have the want to go through and revamp that line. And maybe they will. Maybe because they see, especially again with the people purchasing in-art stuff, maybe they see the want for higher detailed figures for more money. Maybe that'll drive them to maybe revamp their DX line and go that route with it.
I was just thinking that how would the perfect movie scene that would match this for the DX line would be in Revenge of the Sith, Anakin and Padme, where she's saying, I don't recognize you anymore. You're going down a path I can't follow. Padme would be the Collectors, and Anakin would be Howard Chan.
So my brothers.
And the whole conversation's about the DX line.
My God, Sean. Real quick, guys.
You're going down a path I can't follow.
You're breaking my heart.
That was some Oscar-winning acting there too.
Hey, come on now, it's Natalie Portman, man. But real quick, guys, on your way out, as Insane One always says, feed the algorithm, leave a like, and take a sub on your way out to the Hot Toys Hotline and this killer panel. Yes, guys, if you haven't already, please drop a like on this stream and subscribe if you have not already. I just want to say a big thank you to everybody for hanging out with us tonight. I hope you guys learned something. I hope you guys enjoyed our thoughts, and thank you so much, everybody in the chat, for sharing your thoughts. It was a great stream, some great conversation, and those that are watching on the replay, definitely comment down below your thoughts on the DX line as a whole, and maybe suggest some changes yourself. But as always, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us. It was such a wonderful stream, a great Tuesday night stream hanging out with you all. Thank you to everybody that donated. Thank you to all the moderators, and thank you to all the wonderful people in the chat. I'm sorry if I did not read your comments or say what's up to you. If I missed anybody, thank you so much for being here. We very much appreciate it. And once again, guys, if you're checking this stream out on the replay, I hope you guys enjoy it, and please share your thoughts down below because I love interacting with you all in the comments. But that's going to wrap it up. As always, guys, the links to everybody's channels are in the description. Check out Mr. Mom Collectibles, Chris Collecting Madness, Sean the Hot Toys Nightmare. Please check out our other channel. Show them some support. I would very much appreciate it. They have some great stuff going on in their channel. Of course, as always, guys, we will see you for our weekly news stream on Thursday at 7 p.m. EST. But that is all we got for you guys. We will see you next time, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your night. Take care, and we will